After determining the direction of the port, Lu Yuan steered his ship and headed straight for it. Ding. Arrived at port, Qian family mortuary. Docking time, 2 hours. Let's go. Hearing that this port turned out to be a mortuary, Lu Yuan frowned, motioned for Wang Bingbing to stay alert, and then went ashore. Once on land, the two walked one behind the other along a trail and headed into the village. Just as they caught sight of the village entrance, a shrill Swana sound suddenly drifted over from ahead. Holy hell! At the sound, Wang Bingbing instantly ducked behind Lu Yuan. Even though Lu Yuan had encountered all sorts of bizarre incidents in the game in his past life, his heart still skipped a beat upon hearing that Swana tune. As time passed, the Swana grew louder and closer, and the two finally laid eyes on its source. A procession of people came in several groups. At the front walked the Swana player. Dressed in a black mandarin jacket, his face was as pale as if plastered with putty. He hopped about as he played. 4 men carried a bridal sedan chair, dancing as they advanced toward Lu Yuan. On either side of the sedan walked 2 small children with rouge-painted cheeks. What made the scene even more uncanny was that as they followed the sedan, the 2 children scattered paper spirit money. Heath, ha! While Lu Yuan and his companion stared at the sedan, the children beside it giggled a few times and then began to sing. Her bright glow, glimmers and glistens bright. Faster now, faster now. Damn it! As the procession drew near, the surrounding temperature seemed to drop several degrees. Lu Yuan knew he had to do something. All fear stems from insufficient firepower. Lu Yuan chambered around, ready to put these creatures down with force. Beside him, Wang Bingbing knocked an arrow and got ready to shoot. Are you 2 captains here on a mission? Just as Lu Yuan could no longer bear the eerie sight and was about to open fire, an elderly Taoist in a yellow robe jumped out from the rear of the procession. Noticing the righteous aura about the old man, Lu Yuan hesitated, then stepped back slowly. That's right. And you are. During port expeditions, one could sometimes run into living humans. In Lu Yuan's experience, people referred to them as NPCs. I am a Taoist priest stationed near this mortuary. I handle funeral rites. You may call me Daozhong, the yellow-robed Taoist hastily explained. Do you need our help? Lu Yuan let out a quiet sigh of relief. A friendly, disposed NPC usually signaled a quest, type port. Complete their request, and you would earn corresponding rewards. Exactly so, the yellow-robed Taoist smiled. This sedan is prepared for Master Qian. Due to local customs, I am here to relocate the Qian family patriarch's grave. I need you to stand guard and prevent corpse reanimation. Whoa, I don't know any Taoist magic. Lu Yuan had been excited to take on the quest, but the thought of dealing with supernatural happenings made him uncertain. Captains can accomplish anything. The choice is yours. I must press onward. The yellow-robed Taoist chuckled, then led the sedan and the procession forward. Yuan Gu, should we follow? Wang Bingbing, who had stayed quiet until then, asked timidly. Have you forgotten the rule of seafaring? Lu Yuan glanced at her. The bigger the storm, the bigger the catch. Let's go. Giving her a resolute look, Lu Yuan hurried after the Taoist with Wang Bingbing. After trekking along mountain paths behind the sedan, they reached their destination, Master Qian's tomb. Lu Yuan spotted a man, high bluestone tombstone, and glanced toward the grave behind it. Continuous rainfall recently triggered mudslides in the back hills. This burial site is ruined. The yellow-robed Taoist beside him explained the reason for relocating the grave. All right. Though the Taoist's words sounded odd, Lu Yuan wisely held his tongue. Ignoring Lu Yuan, the Taoist stepped before the tombstone and pulled out a paper talisman. Heaven and earth share one origin. All vital energy springs from the root. Rise. As the Taoist finished his incantation, the yellow talisman in his hand burst into flame. He turned to the attendants. Exhume the grave. At the order, the sedan bearers moved to the grave mound and began digging under the Taoist's supervision. Yuan Gu, nothing seems wrong. Wang Bingbing whispered beside Lu Yuan, still tense. Stay quiet and keep watching. Lu Yuan shook his head. All his knowledge on such matters came from old horror movies, so he dared not jump to conclusions. Some 10 minutes later, a partially decayed coffin was unearthed. Through gaps in the wood, Lu Yuan spotted signs of corpse reanimation. Still, since the Taoist said nothing, he kept his observations to himself. The group then transferred Master Qian's remains into the bridal sedan. Captain, once we return to the mortuary, this mission will be complete, the yellow-robed Taoist told Lu Yuan after overseeing the transfer. Understood, Daozhong. Lu Yuan and Wang Bingbing bowed in reply. The party set off back toward the mortuary. The journey passed without incident, but as the sedan neared the mortuary gate, a flock of crows erupted from the nearby woods. The Taoist's brows drew together. Hurry, move Master Qian into the new coffin. Yes. The attendants quickly carried the remains inside. Yet the moment the sedan crossed the threshold, thunder boomed, and a bolt of lightning struck the main hall of the mortuary. Not good. The Taoist's face paled. He sprinted inside. But before he could react, hordes of zombies burst out of the building. Left divine, right fire, thunder god lend me your power. At the sight of the zombie horde, the helpers dropped Master Qian's body and fled. Yuan Ge, what do we do? Wang Bingbing had never witnessed such a scene and was close to tears. What's there to fear? Time to fight. Lu Yuan snorted. I was worried rewards would be slim. Looks like we're about to hit the jackpot. He flipped the safety off his rifle, and hot bullets poured from the muzzle. As Lu Yuan opened fire, Wang Bingbing reacted instantly, drawing her bow and loosing arrows at the zombies. Rat, tat, tat. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Under their combined fire, most of the zombies were cut down quickly. Impressed by their firepower, the yellow-robed Taoist unleashed his full arsenal, hurling talismans at the undead. In the heat of battle, no one noticed that Master Qian, freshly dug from his grave, was mutating. Driven by some unknown force, his rotting flesh stiffened. Yellowish fat turned ash, gray, and his body shriveled. His mouth shifted shape, and two fangs slowly pushed through his gums. The transformation happened so fast that by the time the Taoist noticed, it was already complete. Watch out, you too, the Taoist shouted a warning. Lu Yuan reacted fast, yanking Wang Bingbing and rolling aside. Whoa, a hopping zombie. Lu Yuan swore under his breath. This was his first time seeing such a creature. What do we use? Black donkey hooves or black dog blood? He glanced at the Taoist. Oh, you know quite a bit, young man. The Taoist chuckled. You should leave. Only heavenly thunder can destroy this thing. Remember your time limit ashore as captain. You cannot wait it out. Heavenly thunder. Lu Yuan looked up. Dark storm clouds roiled overhead, promising imminent lightning. Checking his nautical log, however, they only had half an hour left. There was not enough time. Do you have kites? Lu Yuan asked after a moment of silence. Indeed. Kite flying is a local tradition. The Taoist wondered about his motive but answered honestly. As a Taoist, you must have copper wire. I do. Tie copper wire to a kite. Fly it. Draw lightning down onto the zombie. Lu Yuan laid out his plan. Get the supplies ready. Bingbing will handle the kite. You and I will hold the creature off. Very well, holding it off is manageable. But are you certain this scheme will work? The Taoist eyed Lu Yuan doubtfully. Quit overthinking it. Trust science. Lu Yuan waved him off and turned to Wang Bingbing. Remember Franklin's experiment? Understood, my captain. Wang Bingbing caught on immediately and saluted. You two go prepare. I'll keep this zombie occupied. The Taoist and Wang Bingbing hurried off to gather materials. Meanwhile, Master Qian's zombie stormed into the courtyard. Oh ho! Taste some heavy firepower. Lu Yuan opened fire again. His 75-round drum magazine poured 7.62mm rounds onto the zombie. Though mutated and far tougher than an ordinary corpse, it could not withstand modern firepower. Blows drove it several meters backward, tearing its clothing to shreds. Roar, roar, roar. The zombie retreated out the gate. Lu Yuan quickly swapped in a fresh drum magazine. He had barely finished reloading when the zombie came flying straight back inside. Damn it. It's a flying, hopping zombie. Lu Yuan fired a full burst without hesitation. Roar. Struck again. The zombie crashed to the ground and clambered back up. Its burial robes were shredded, tattered mutated flesh hanging from its frame. Take this. Lu Yuan's temper flared. He squeezed the trigger once more. Bullets forced the zombie backward. The yellow-robed Taoist appeared in the doorway behind it, holding a basin of unknown contents, waiting for the zombie to back into position. Lu Yuan understood his intent and fired another burst, driving the zombie toward him. Splash! The Taoist upended the basin over the zombie. Lu Yuan saw a messy mixture of black blood, glutinous rice, and fragments of donkey hoof. Nice prep work, Daozhong. Lu Yuan grinned and watched the zombie thrash wildly on the ground, burned and corroded by the mixture. Still not dead. Lu Yuan swapped magazines and kept shooting. Before docking, he had handcrafted plenty of ammunition for emergencies. After emptying another drum, Wang Bingbing's voice rang out. Yuan, go, it's ready. Lu Yuan turned to see her launching a huge kite high toward the storm. Heavy clouds. Perfect. Tie the copper line to the zombie while it's disoriented. Wang Bingbing ran over and handed the kite to Lu Yuan. He sprinted toward the rolling, injured zombie. Ugh, ugh. When the zombie caught sight of him, its face twisted in terror. Lu Yuan wasted no time. While it was stunned, he looped the copper kite wire around its neck, what little neck remained after the bullet damage. The kite soared deep into the thunderclouds. Crackle! A lightning bolt struck, traveling straight down the copper wire into the zombie's body. Ding! Hidden quest for Port Qian family mortuary completed. Rewards will be issued shortly. The system prompt echoed in Lu Yuan's mind. He was thrilled. Unlocking a hidden port quest was a wonderful surprise. Young man, my gratitude to you. The yellow-robed Taoist walked over. Hee, just doing my job. Knowing special rewards awaited, Lu Yuan treated the Taoist with great deference. To thank you for defeating this zombie, take this. The Taoist held out a brass suona, the same instrument used by the procession musicians. Though Lu Yuan felt a twinge of unease, the promise of loot made him accept it. As soon as he touched it, information flooded into his mind. Name, brass suona. Type, musical instrument. Grade, A tier. Description, an enchanted brass suona. Playing it deals damage to living targets. The effect doubles if the wielder comes from a musical family. Whoa, great item. His distaste vanished instantly. Many spirit-type mutated creatures lurked in this seafaring game, which was why he valued his tier 3 ship's magic resistance. Up to now, he only possessed 2 defensive trinkets, an exorcism lamp and an anti-magic shield. This suona was an offensive weapon. Thank you, Daozhong. Lu Yuan bowed deeply. No need for formalities. The Taoist smiled. There is also a tier 3 treasure chest. One moment. He stepped into a side chamber and returned carrying the chest. I have one more gift, personal from me. As Lu Yuan happily stowed the chest, the Taoist spoke again. You may take Master Qian's zombie with you. What? Lu Yuan's eyes widened. He thought it was just an NPC. How could he take it away? It is true. I sense something special about you. This flying hopping zombie can serve as a weapon. The Taoist slapped the talisman onto the zombie's forehead. I will teach you the incantations to control it. It may fight beside you in days to come. That's really too much. Lu Yuan protested politely while reaching out to store the zombie in his spatial inventory. Think nothing of it. After Lu Yuan stored the corpse, the Taoist handed him a manual. Many thanks. Time presses, we must depart. Lu Yuan bowed once more. Farewell, until fate brings us together again. The Taoist waved. Lu Yuan and Wang Bingbing hurried back toward the port. After they left, a zombie in a black mandarin jacket stepped out from within the mortuary and hopped beside the Taoist. You really gave old Qian away? It asked gravely. I sense something extraordinary about that young man. Perhaps he can lead us out of this world. The Taoist gazed toward the harbor. Oh, if you say so. The zombie followed his gaze. Lu Yuan knew nothing of their plans. No sooner had he and Wang Bingbing boarded than the log warned that port access was expiring. Rushing to the captain's cabin, he piloted his tier 3 ship away. Watching Qian family mortuary fade into distance, Lu Yuan collapsed onto the deck, exhausted. Yuan Ge, are you alright? Wang Bingbing recovered quickly and knelt beside him, rubbing his shoulders and legs. I'm fine. Open the chest. Lu Yuan exhaled. His limbs ached. He mentally noted that building the training hall for his tier 3 ship needed priority. The rewards from a tier 3 chest were bound to be impressive. Right away, Yuan Ge. Wang Bingbing rubbed her hands and lifted the lid. Ding. Open tier 3 treasure chest. Obtained. Mixed vegetable seeds times 1. Lamb rolls times 10. Fresh water times 10. Universal ammunition times 10. Bonus multiplier applied. Mixed vegetable seeds times 10. Lamb rolls times 100. Fresh water times 100. Universal ammunition times 100. Excellent. Lu Yuan was satisfied. Bullets and water were no longer scarce for him. Lamb rolls were a welcome luxury. Best of all were the mixed vegetable seeds. Combined with his tier 3 ship's greenhouse, he now had the basics for self-sufficiency. Looks like I need to rush through the tier 3 ship's auxiliary upgrades. After thinking about combining greenhouses with vegetable seeds, Lu Yuan scratched his head. Right now, resources were still the most critical thing. Let me check the chat channel again. After double-checking his resources and finding he still lacked materials for full upgrades, Lu Yuan turned his attention to the trading channel of the nautical log. Now that the 3-day novice protection period had ended, most players had gotten the hang of things and were actively gathering supplies. This made Lu Yuan's work quite a bit easier. Yuan. Just as Lu Yuan was making trades on the channel, Wang Bingbing suddenly leaned over beside him. Don't you feel it's gotten much colder all of a sudden? Hearing this, Lu Yuan lifted his head. After sensing his surroundings carefully, he realized the temperature had indeed dropped significantly. Oh right, the weather shifts once novice protection ends. This is the frigid world phase. Scratching his head, Lu Yuan recalled this detail. Let's get the heating system we planned built first. Lu Yuan's physique was far above average, so he had not noticed the temperature drop. He only remembered it after Wang Bingbing brought it up. Fortunately, he already possessed the blueprint for the multi-energy heating module. With that thought, Lu Yuan retrieved the blueprint from his storage space. Name: Multi-Energy Heating Module Blueprint. Required materials: wood times 200, metal times 500, plastic times 300. Construction requirements met. Proceed with construction. Construct. The moment Lu Yuan spoke, a flash of light appeared, and construction began inside the captain's quarters. Have something to eat. The first wave of mutated creatures will be here soon. Glancing at the heating module being built, Lu Yuan turned and reminded Wang Bingbing. Got it, Yuan. Meanwhile, in the nautical log chat channel, all players were growing anxious about the plummeting temperature and the incoming mutated creature assault. Has anyone else noticed how cold it's getting? Duh, the first phase of this game is brutal cold. Hey, does anyone have a spare down jacket? I'll pay well. Hey girl, show us something, yeah? Really? You'll give me a down jacket if I do. Nah, just messing with you. Cut it out, that's creepy. As time passed, everyone felt the temperature keep falling and scrambled to find solutions. While Lu Yuan waited for Wang Bingbing to prepare dinner, one message in the chat feed caught his eye. Trade me 100 units of any material for information on tonight's mutated creatures. The message was quickly buried under countless other posts. Those who saw it mostly dismissed it as a scam. Interesting. Lu Yuan read the message and thought differently. The sender was Lu Sitong, known among university fashion show majors as the fortune teller. Lu Yuan remembered hearing dorm mates talk about her back in school. Outside of classes, she spent most of her time studying tarot cards. If that hobby carried over into the game, there was a good chance she had awakened a prediction-type talent. Lu Yuan opened a private chat window with her. 100 units of wood. Deal. Wood was his most abundant resource, and 100 units was an acceptable cost. Deal. To Lu Yuan's surprise, she replied instantly. Lu Yuan traded over 100 units of wood. Tonight's mutated creatures are fish. They will ram hulls and leap onto ships to attack crew. After receiving the materials, Lu Sitong relayed the knight's threat. Thanks. Lu Yuan felt a surge of relief. What she described matched what he had experienced in his past life. It confirmed her prediction. Related talent was real. We'll be fine. With the ship-mounted machine gun, we should handle this quickly. Glancing at the matte gray-black machine gun atop his ship, Lu Yuan stretched and headed for the captain's cabin. Besides defending against the coming attack, he also needed to sail toward the safe zone. He had an engine, but it still required manual steering. He made a mental note to look for an autopilot blueprint when the chance arose. Elsewhere, Lu Sitong sat in her captain's quarters, staring blankly at her nautical log. After exchanging messages with Lu Yuan, she had expected him to ask further questions, such as how she obtained her intel. Instead, he had only sent a short thank you. She felt somewhat frustrated. He must not actually believe my predictions. Of course, 100 units of wood means next to nothing for someone as well resourced as Lu Yuan. Reading his last message, Lu Sitong huffed then smiled. Realistically, only someone as well off as Lu Yuan would take that kind of gamble. She admitted she would not have spent those resources herself. Yuan, dinner's ready. Hot pot again. Let me get it for you. Back on Lu Yuan's vessel, Wang Bingbing had finished preparing the meal. Hand it over. Lu Yuan focused on adjusting the ship's heading. Sure thing. Wang Bingbing smiled, fetched the food, and brought it into the captain's cabin. For some players, fortune smiled. For others, disaster loomed. Over on another ship, Bai Shui was on the verge of total collapse. Earlier that day, she had risked a trip to the port and opened a level 2 treasure chest. Among other supplies, she obtained a ship upgrade blueprint. After haggling with multiple traders until sunset, she scraped together materials to upgrade to a level 1 ship. Now her storage held nothing but a few bottles of water and slices of bread. Bai Shui was close to tears. Ding. Warning. The first night's mutated creature assault is imminent. Captain, please prepare your defenses. It's finally here. At the system alert, Lu Yuan let out a low snort and turned to Wang Bingbing. Stay close behind me. Use your gun or bow to take out any enemies that slip through. Understood. Wang Bingbing nodded firmly. During dinner, Lu Yuan had briefed her thoroughly on the coming threat and laid out battle plans. She felt no fear, only quiet anticipation. Splash. As the two stepped onto the top deck, the ocean in the distance erupted with rushing water. In faint moonlight, Lu Yuan spotted a huge swarm of piranha, like mutated creatures. They locked onto Lu Yuan's level 3 ship and charged toward the hull in a frenzy. Ding. Mutated creatures are attacking your hull. Physical defense decreases by 1 per hour. Repair materials should be applied promptly. As the fish assailed the vessel, the system notification echoed from the nautical log. Not too destructive, it seems. Lu Yuan grinned, swiveled the ship, mounted machine gun, and opened fire on the swarm. Rat, a tat-tat. His fingers squeezed the trigger. Bright muzzle flashes lit up the water surrounding the ship. Thud, thud, thud. Bullets slammed into the sea, wiping out most of the piranhas instantly. Bing, bing. Get to the captain's cabin and push the engines to full power. Leave these mutated fish in our wake. I will finish them off. Assessing the situation, Lu Yuan gave Wang Bingbing her new assignment. Got it. She had wanted a turn firing the gun, but obeyed his order without complaint. Seconds later, engine roars shook the ship as the Level 3 vessel surged forward. The mutated fish that had clung beneath the hull fell far behind. Perfect. Lu Yuan watched the dense mass of fish trailing behind and emptied another full magazine into them. Ding. Lu Yuan is the first captain in Zone C to repel the mutated fish assault, issuing zone-wide announcement and clearing completion reward. When the sea surface fell quiet, the system voice echoed inside Lu Yuan's head. A first clear? Interesting. Wonder what the reward is. Lu Yuan walked to the stern and activated his talent spirit absorption. Before long, the fallen mutated creatures dissolved into attribute points. Only 1 point. Still a long road ahead. Lu Yuan shook his head at the meager gain. Ding. Congratulations, Captain. First, clear reward received. Level 3 treasure chest ×1. Please collect. Simultaneously, the nautical log chat channel exploded with reactions to the global announcement. Whoa, what? It only took him a few minutes? Lu Yuan finished already. No way, he must be cheating. Forget that. Does anyone have wood to spare? My ship durability is almost gone. Freezing cold weather plus man, eating fish. This game is brutal. As the chat rolled on, the total number of active captains across the zone kept dropping. None of this concerned Lu Yuan. Open it. Lu Yuan nodded toward the treasure chest and gestured for Wang Bingbing to unlock it. Right away, Captain. Wang Bingbing stepped forward and opened the chest. Ding. Contractor opens treasure chest. Obtain supplies. Primary gene potion ×1. Primary mental potion ×1. Electronic core ×1. Wood ×100. Metal ×100. Plastic ×100. Contract bonus multiplier activated. Rewarded. Primary gene potion ×10. Primary mental potion ×10. Electronic core ×10. Wood ×1000. Metal ×1000. Plastic ×1000. Wow. This first clear reward is incredible. Lu Yuan's eyes widened at the system readout. Gene potions and mental potions were extremely rare items in this nautical survival world. As their names suggested, both boosted a user's base stats. There were 3 main ways to raise base attributes in this game: injecting potions, killing special mutated creatures, or awakening powerful talents like Lu Yuan's. There also existed healing potions for restoring bodily condition. In his past life, he had suffered severe injuries, yet Li Weiwei had refused to give him healing potions, which had led to his death. Thinking back, Lu Yuan felt genuine excitement. Not only had he obtained precious potions, Wang Bingbing's multiplier bonus had amplified everything. He now possessed 11 gene potions and 11 mental potions. Even in his previous timeline, such a stockpile would drive countless players mad. The electronic core was a key material for upgrading to a level 4 ship, making its appearance perfectly timed. Yuan, this first clear reward is really something. Wang Bingbing read the item descriptions and voiced her amazement. Want to try one of these potions? Fair warning, the injection process hurts. Lu Yuan smiled at her eager expression. No. Keep these precious items for yourself, Yuan. Wang Bingbing waved her hands quickly. Haha, we can try them sometime. Lu Yuan knew injections were painful and placed heavy demands on physical constitution. He planned to wait until they reached the safe zone before using them. That's enough for tonight. Go rest. I will steer the ship. Lu Yuan tilted his head toward the quarters. You've been working non-stop all night. Let me take over. Wang Bingbing walked over looking reluctant. I'm fine. Lu Yuan shook his head. I still need to monitor trade requests on the nautical log. Get some sleep. I don't want a cold bunk later. All right then. Wang Bingbing sighed in mild disappointment and headed for the rest quarters. Once she left, Lu Yuan reopened the nautical log and sorted through incoming private trade offers. Over on her own ship, Bai Shui was drowning in regret. She had upgraded her vessel, but a level 1 hull could not withstand mutated creature assaults. Her only weapon was a machete, useless against swarming attackers. After a mutated fish leaped aboard and bit her, Bai Shui sank to the deck and wept. Ding. Warning. Vessel physical resistance down to 10%. Repair immediately. The cold system notification compounded her despair. Lu Yuan, I accept the contract. Please save me. Trembling and crying, she sent him an urgent message. Lu Yuan, busy reviewing trade proposals, was surprised by Bai Shui's incoming message. Oh, our proud Miss Bai Shui has finally come around. A smirk tugged at Lu Yuan's lips. I have. Please, Lu Yuan, save me. Bai Shui replied instantly. Hindsight is 20/20. Lu Yuan sighed and summoned a contract document, sending it over to her. Without hesitation, Bai Shui signed it. At this point she would agree to anything to survive. Ding. Bai Shui has signed the contract. Initiate teleportation? Teleport. Lu Yuan stepped out onto his level 3 ship's deck. On Bai Shui's vessel, as hull resistance dropped to 1%, bright light swallowed her hull. Whoosh. A rift split the dark sky. A figure descended from above and landed heavily in Lu Yuan's arms. Coughing, Bai Shui regained consciousness right after landing. Her eyes met Lu Yuan's. Comfortable. Lu Yuan looked down at her. Sorry. Bai Shui snapped out of her daze, quickly stood and stepped back. Go take a shower. You're covered in grime. Lu Yuan gestured toward the second floor. Be quiet. Someone is sleeping. Bai Shui was stunned. While most players fought over single bottles of water, Lu Yuan had spare water for bathing. Someone sleeping implied another contracted person was already on board. Here, change into these. Lu Yuan tossed her a set of scavenged clothes and turned back toward the captain's cabin. Find me after you finish washing. As Bai Shui walked toward the second floor, she felt the ship's surprisingly warm interior. Outside temperatures kept plummeting into the bitter cold of the game's frigid phase, yet the rest quarters stayed comfortably warm. There was a large bed and a bathroom fitted with a bathtub. What on earth have I missed? She stared at the surroundings, filled with tangled thoughts. Yuan, are you back? A sleepy murmur came from the big bed. Bai Shui shuddered. A long leg slipped out from under the covers. Then Wang Bingbing sat up slowly. Senior Bai Shui. Wang Bingbing yawned. Bathroom is over there. Go ahead and clean up. She lay back down, her bare back visible above the covers, subtly marking her place on the ship. Bai Shui swallowed hard. She could feel the quiet show of dominance, yet she had no grounds to compete. She was here only because she had begged for rescue. Water streamed down her body as she stepped under the warm 40-degree shower. It was the most pleasant feeling she had experienced in a long while. Back in the captain's cabin, Lu Yuan reviewed Bai Shui's profile. Player profile name, Bai Shui ID, 999 Constitution, 30 Agility, 30 Perception, 20 Spirit, 30 Strength, 30 Talent, Plant Affinity Status, Fatigued, Sleep, Deprived and Hungry, Otherwise Stable. Assessment. She did not lose consciousness after teleportation, which is promising for our new contractor. Relieved her base stats were solid, Lu Yuan focused on her talent. Plant Affinity. He wondered whether it boosted farming or granted power to manipulate vegetation. I will ask her once she finishes showering. While steering the ship, Lu Yuan activated his talent Golden Staff Mutation, hoping to gain a new ability from his new contractor. Ding. Contract established with Bai Shui. Her talent, Plant Affinity. Triggering talent mutation. Congratulations, Captain. You have obtained talent, Charismatic Aura. Talent, Charismatic Aura Rank B. Description, boosts personal charm as your power grows. Can cast charm effects to confuse foes and grants partial resistance against mental attacks. Evaluation, Charisma is yours. Lu Yuan looked at the new talent with mixed feelings. He thought he already looked decent enough and had never needed extra charm. Still, the bonus was welcome. What mattered most was the crowd, confusion ability, and mental attack immunity, a valuable survival tool. All right, not bad. He shrugged and kept steering. Footsteps sounded behind him. Bing Bing, I told you to rest, don't come down. Lu Yuan did not turn around, still thinking only Wang Bingbing was awake. Senior, it's me. Bai Shui's clear voice responded. Lu Yuan spun around, remembering his new passenger. Fresh from the shower, Bai Shui wore an oversized white shirt. Damp strands of hair clung to her neck. The large shirt reached her upper thighs, sleeves rolled up to her elbows, revealing fair forearms. Lu Yuan. Noticing his gaze, Bai Shui gave a soft smile. Come here. Lu Yuan refocused and waved her into the captain's cabin. Eat something first. He pulled out whole, wheat bread, bottled water, and cold, weather-down clothing from storage. Thank you so much, Lu Yuan. Seeing how generous he was, Bai Shui hurried forward and thanked him profusely after taking the items. Call me Captain. At Bai Shui's words, Lu Yuan put on a different expression. Having gotten over his initial amazement at Bai Shue's beauty, he intended to set some ground rules for her. Oh, okay, Captain. Bai Shue looked momentarily stunned. Then, as if something dawned on her, she obediently called out, "Eat while we talk." Lu Yuan tilted his head, gesturing for her to dig in while he spoke. "I'm the boss on this ship, and my word is final. You may offer suggestions, but I'm under no obligation to take them. Do you understand?" Lu Yuan looked at Bai Shue and asked. "I understand, Captain." Bai Shue quickly adjusted to the situation and nodded respectfully. "Tell me about your talent." Seeing she raised no objections, Lu Yuan asked. "All right. My talent is plant affinity. It boosts plant growth and gives me a natural bond with vegetation. It's an A-rank talent." After a short pause, Bai Shue gave a brief account of her ability. "I see. Lucky for you, you ended up with me." Lu Yuan's eyes lit up. It was like getting a pillow right when he felt sleepy. His Tier 3 ship had just finished installing a greenhouse, and he'd only just gotten a pack of vegetable seeds, and now here was someone who could make plants thrive. It also explained why she'd been struggling to survive. Logistics-type talents like hers only show their true potential in the later stages of the game, and that potential could only be unlocked if you stayed alive long enough. "All right, my Tier 3 ship has a greenhouse. Once construction wraps up tomorrow, you can give it a try." Lu Yuan brushed aside thoughts of her past hardships and assigned her upcoming work. "Wonderful, Captain." Bai Shue nodded excitedly. "Go get some rest." With that, Lu Yuan turned and headed for the lounge. When they arrived, Bai Shue watched Lu Yuan climb straight onto the bed and stood there, unsure what to do. "Do you need me to invite you over?" Lu Yuan glanced at her where she stood and asked with a smile. "Oh, okay." As Lu Yuan approached the bed, space automatically opened up for him. Once he settled in, Wang Bingbing playfully turned her back, then snuggled up against him. Whoa! At that moment, Lu Yuan's newly acquired talent, Charmer, kicked into effect. He had originally planned to spend some quiet time talking with Wang Bingbing, yet he suddenly felt a warm presence behind him. "Captain, you look incredibly striking tonight," Wang Bingbing mumbled, turning her head toward him. Striking? Lu Yuan realized his new ability was taking effect. Wow, this talent is really something, he thought to himself in amusement. Since the charmer effect could not be turned off, Lu Yuan decided to go with the flow. He reinforced the cabin tent and enjoyed the peaceful evening with the two young women. The next day, Lu Yuan was the first to wake. Listening to the soft breathing from the bed, he said nothing and got dressed. Ding! Detected deepened bond between captain and contracted partners. Talent golden rod activated. Achievement unlocked, solid rapport. Recalculating resource return multipliers. Contracted partner, Wang Bingbing, return multiplier, 20x. Contracted partner, Bai Shue, return multiplier, 15x. All that effort really paid off. Lu Yuan widened his eyes reading the notification. He felt refreshed and full of energy. As he reflected on recent events, new updates appeared in the voyage log. Time: Day 5 region, C857857 weather. Overcast, 5 degrees Celsius. North wind remaining players. 90,000/10000 port arrival countdown. 4 hours voyage adventure game countdown. 6 days rewards for players who survive day 3 have been deployed near vessels. Please collect them. Tough as ever, this nautical survival game. Lu Yuan sighed at the loss of 9,000 players in a single day. Yuan, you're awake. The two women stirred on the bed. They looked at Lu Yuan with genuine admiration for his capability the night before and for building a relatively safe, comfortable life amid this cruel world. Morning. Let's collect today's rewards first. Bai Shue, I'll send you an invitation to formally join my ship as crew. Lu Yuan nodded. While sorting out arrangements, he finalized Bai Shue's crew status. Once everything was set, he took both women to the bow to fish for reward chests. Soon 3 chests were hauled aboard. 1 tier 1, 1 tier 2, 1 tier 3. Bingbing, open the tier 3 chest. Bai Shue, you take tier 1 and tier 2. Now that both women had resource, return multipliers, Lu Yuan wanted to split loot fairly to avoid tension. Got it. Without protest, they opened their assigned chests. Ding. Contracted partner Wang Bingbing opened chests. Loot obtained. Wood times 100, metal times 100, plastic times 100, milk times 10, eggs times 10, tomahawk steak times 10, instant noodles times 10. Resource return activated. Wood times 2,000, metal times 2,000, plastic times 2,000, milk times 200, eggs times 200, tomahawk steak times 200, instant noodles times 20. Ding. Contracted partner Bai Shue opened chests. Loot obtained. Torpedo launch blueprint ×1, torpedo ×10, radar blueprint ×1, tier 4 ship upgrade blueprint ×1. Resource return activated. Torpedo launch blueprint ×15, torpedo ×150, radar blueprint ×15, tier 4 ship upgrade blueprint ×15. Return supplies added to inventory space. So this is what it feels like to be a protagonist in a power fantasy novel, Lu Yuan thought as he stared at the mountain of resources. Yuan, today's rewards are really generous, Wang Bingbing remarked. Must be because our captain is outstanding. Back when I started, I only got basic resources every day, Bai Shui added. Regardless, our top priority is keeping the three of us alive and well, Lu Yuan smiled. We'll reach port soon. You two go make breakfast. All right, Yuan, /understood, Captain. They smiled and went off to prepare food. Once they left, Lu Yuan sat back on the bed. He needed massive amounts of resources, and the trade channel was his best bet. Public chat was flooded with desperate messages. Those mutated creatures last night were brutal. Lucky I had a machete to scrape by. Hey man, where'd you get a machete? Can you spare one? Get lost. I barely have enough for myself. Anyone kind enough to give me wood? My ship needs repairs, and I'm short on lumber. Quit begging. Cold-hearted jerk. Lu Yuan read the scrolling messages and sighed. The game had only just begun. Worse hardships lay ahead. Yuan, you there? Want to make a trade? A private message popped up from Zhang Long. Sure. What do you need? Lu Yuan smiled and replied. I met another captain who can source large quantities of metal. Thought you might be interested in a deal. Oh, what does he want in return? Lu Yuan held no suspicion toward Zhang Long, but wanted to know the terms. A tier 3 blueprint, came Zhang Long's reply after a short pause. Lu Yuan frowned. He did have spare tier 3 blueprints, 2 extra copies from Wang Bingbing's loot multiplier. Still, Zhang Long needed to prove he was worth doing business with. I have blueprints. How much metal are you offering? Right after Lu Yuan sent the message, Zhang Long replied. 1,000 each of wood, metal, and plastic. What do you say? Lu Yuan's eyes widened. He had not expected such a substantial offer from Zhang Long's contact. Deal. Thanks a ton, Yuan. Let me know if you ever need anything. Zhang Long sent a grateful emoji once the trade concluded. Will do. Though Lu Yuan asked no further questions, he sensed Zhang Long had far more going on beneath the surface. Ding. Approaching 5, player tier 3 port. Captain, please prepare for docking. A5, player port. Lu Yuan was surprised. That meant running into other captains. He grinned. Interacting with other players would prove interesting. Where there were people, there was conflict. Yuan, it's a 5-player port. We might meet other survivors. Bai Shui and Wang Bingbing walked over, looking worried. They had heard the system announcement. Don't worry. Lu Yuan gestured to reassure them. Stay aboard while I go ashore. If trouble arises, man the machine gun and cover me. Aren't we coming with you? Both women looked confused. We don't have enough firepower. I can't keep watch over both of you on land. I'll feel much safer knowing you're safe on the ship. Lu Yuan patted their heads gently, explaining his reasoning honestly. Very well. Please stay safe. They nodded, understanding his concern. Also, I'm granting you inventory permissions. Install whatever blueprints we have that can be built. Since they would be waiting aboard, they might as well work on ship upgrades with the surplus resources. Got it, Yuan. What should we prioritize first? Wang Bingbing asked excitedly. Greenhouse, torpedo launch system, and training hall. Handle the rest at your discretion. Those 3 facilities were his most urgent needs. Understood. Ding. Arrived at port. Rainbow Community. Docking duration, 2 hours. Hearing the log update, Lu Yuan headed for the captain's cabin and steered toward the port. Minutes later, he reached Rainbow Community's docks. 4 other vessels were already moored. 3 tier 2 ships and 1 tier 3 ship. Stay hidden. Don't let anyone spot you. Lu Yuan warned the 2 women. He was not afraid of fighting, but preferred to avoid unnecessary trouble. After docking, he allocated his leftover attribute points into Constitution, raising it to 53 for safety. Just then, a man's furious shout drifted over from shore. All you tier 2 captains line up. Hand over your supplies, and I might spare your lives. Lu Yuan frowned. He had run into a bully. 4 other players came into view. 3 men and 1 woman. One burly man wielded a large machete, ordering the others around. Without a captain's permission, no one could board another ship. To rob others, this tier 3 captain had to coerce them on land. Still, Lu Yuan could tell he was all bark and no bite. He hesitated to actually kill. If Lu Yuan wanted to rob others, those 3 would already be dead. Unclaimed ships belonged to whoever seized them, yet Lu Yuan saw no point preying on such weak opponents. Annoying. Ignoring the confrontation unfolding, Lu Yuan turned to explore Rainbow Community. Hey you, stop right there. Just as Lu Yuan set off, the burly Tier 3 captain called out to him. Lu Yuan paused. He suspected a robbery attempt, and let the man speak to justify any necessary force. He even entertained the thought that the man might want to team up to loot together. Show me what valuables you've got on your ship. The heavy-set man saw Lu Yuan's youthful appearance and failed to realize he also commanded a Tier 3 vessel. You're really asking for it. Confirming the man intended to rob him, Lu Yuan drew his Type 191 rifle without slowing down. Wait. Shit. At the sight of the firearm, the bully realized he had picked the wrong target. He dropped to his knees instantly. Mercy. I'm just a student, spare me. Your excuses won't save you. Lu Yuan snorted and pulled the trigger. He killed someone. The woman from one of the other ships screamed in panic. Has no one grown out of this naivety yet? Lu Yuan ignored her outburst and turned toward the two remaining men. Want to come along with me? Sir, are you willing to take us in? The pair looked utterly thankful. Sure. In this world we ought to look out for one another. I'll take 5 shares of whatever we find, and you two split the rest. Fair enough. Lu Yuan smiled. You saw what happened to that man. He brought it entirely on himself. Absolutely. We'll follow your lead for this exploration. They quickly agreed. All right then, let's go. Lu Yuan stepped into Rainbow Community. He was not acting out of kindness. His instincts told him these two men could not be trusted. Even with his rifle, keeping them within sight was safer than letting them lurk out of view. Rainbow Community looked like an ordinary residential neighborhood, stocked with everyday supplies. Lu Yuan's main goals were medicine and, if possible, more seeds. The group arrived at a supermarket. Lu Yuan forced the door open and rushed in with rifle raised. Finding no zombies inside, he waved the two men in. Help yourselves. I'm after medical supplies. Leaving the two men overjoyed as they grabbed goods, Lu Yuan headed straight for the pharmacy shelves. Amoxicillin, ibuprofen, montmorillonite powder, plus assorted topical medications. He stored every item on the racks into his inventory. Once he cleared out all the medicine, he moved toward other aisles. He froze in surprise at the sight ahead. An entire shelf full of seed packets. Lemons, chili peppers, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, eggplants, green beans, potatoes, carrots. Take all of these. Without hesitation, Lu Yuan stored the whole shelf of seeds in his inventory. He had no interest in hoarding random junk. Even with his spacious storage, excess clutter would only create extra work sorting later. He grabbed a few snacks and walked back toward the entrance. The two men stood by the door, arms loaded with loot. Ready to move on? Lu Yuan asked. Sir, could we head back to our ships first to stow our haul? One man asked sheepishly. Lu Yuan blinked. He had forgotten not everyone possessed a large, capacity inventory like his own. Fine. I'll look around the area while you're gone. Hurry back. Lu Yuan waved them off. Then, under Lu Yuan's gaze, the two people left quickly. Sigh, I'm just this helpful. Watching the pair depart, Lu Yuan silently gave himself a mental thumbs up. Huh? What's this? Just as Lu Yuan was about to leave, his peripheral vision fell upon several neat rows of black and white silk stockings on the shelves by the supermarket entrance. Man, this place is quite the stock. Such a big supermarket. I might as well take all of these. My spatial ring has plenty of room anyway. Sorting them can wait. Glancing around self-consciously, Lu Yuan waved his hand. The once full shelves vanished into his spatial ring in an instant. Hee, these will come in handy tonight. A faint smirk crossed Lu Yuan's face as he let his thoughts wander. While Lu Yuan was lost in his thoughts, the two men returned after stowing their supplies. Let's head for the top floor rooftop. Time is limited, so we can look for any landmark buildings nearby. Lu Yuan pointed toward a tall building not far away. Got it, whatever you say, boss. The two men nodded in agreement. The three then moved toward the high-rise in single file. Creak. With an ear-grating groan, the rooftop doors slowly swung open. The moment the trio stepped onto the rooftop, a Tier 3 treasure chest appeared right in front of them. Whoa! At the sight of the Tier 3 chest, all three men's eyes lit up. Boss. Greed flickered briefly in the two men beside Lu Yuan, only to be instantly crushed by the aura rolling off him. It's fine. Let's go take a look. We had a deal. I get half, Lu Yuan said with a smile as he watched the two men tremble. Thank you, boss. Relieved, the two men walked toward the Tier 3 treasure chest. As they advanced, Lu Yuan subtly hung back behind them. He knew full well that Tier 3 treasure chests were usually guarded by powerful zombies. This was exactly where having companions came in useful. The three moved forward. Lu Yuan kept scanning their surroundings, his finger resting near the trigger of his Type 191 rifle. The second they reached the chest, a low growl echoed from above. Without even looking, Lu Yuan fired a full burst and immediately darted backward. The two men reacted fast and scrambled back along with him. Roar! Ignoring the pair, Lu Yuan narrowed his eyes at the zombie. A Tier 3 strength, type zombie. Frowning at the system prompt for the creature, he turned and ran. There was no sense picking a straight fight against a Tier 3 zombie out in the open rooftop, not even with a gun. Running was the smartest choice. This was where the two men served their purpose. Boasting better physical stats than ordinary players, Lu Yuan soon outpaced them. As he fled, he heard a blood-curdling scream. Sorry guys. Better you than me. Lu Yuan muttered toward where the two men had run, offering a hollow prayer. He then made up his mind to circle back to the rooftop for a surprise counterattack. Back on the rooftop beside the Tier 3 treasure chest, a figure materialized. It was one of the two men who had been with Lu Yuan. Phew, thank goodness for this item. The man strode toward the treasure chest. Hee, let those two keep the zombie occupied. I'll reap the rewards for myself. Just as he crouched beside the chest to pry it open, a metal pipe pressed hard against his forehead. Gasp! Feeling the cold metal against his skin, even without recognizing the weapon, he knew he was in mortal danger. Hands up, stand up slowly. Lu Yuan's voice rang out from above him. Why, yes, sir. The man complied and rose hastily. How did you get back so fast? Lu Yuan stared at him in confusion. Boss, if I tell you, will you spare me? The man eyed Lu Yuan's menacing expression nervously. You dare bargain with me? Lu Yuan snorted coldly. No. I have an item called Fixed Point Recall. It lets me teleport instantly. The man spilled the details at once, terrified of being hurt. Hand it over. Seeing how valuable the item was, Lu Yuan held out his hand. The man hesitated. Clack. Lu Yuan did not say a word. He simply pulled back the bolt of his Type 191 rifle. All right, I'll give it to you. Frightened, the man pulled the item out of his pocket and handed it over. Name, Fixed Point Recall card. Type, consumable item. Grade, A tier. Description, after marking a location, the user can instantly teleport back to that marker from anywhere within a 1,000-kilometer radius. Whoa, you really hit the jackpot with this thing. Lu Yuan stared at the man after reading the description. A man can get killed for possessing treasure he cannot defend. You can't handle this. I'll keep it safe for you. Boss, that's practically taking my life. Though he had suspected Lu Yuan would demand the item, the man had expected some haggling, not outright seizure. Look at you. Fine, I won't take it for nothing. Here's a bag of seeds. Grow yourself some food later. Taking pity on him, Lu Yuan offered the seeds, a practical resource with great long-term potential. All right, that's enough. We go our separate ways. Lu Yuan clapped him on the shoulder as the man stared in dismay. You forgot to say thank you. Huh, I said say thank you. All right, thank you. Not daring to anger Lu Yuan, the man spoke through gritted teeth. That's the spirit. More friends mean more options. Lu Yuan laughed and left the rooftop, leaving the man standing there in despair. This port expedition had yielded a Tier 3 treasure chest and a high-grade item. Even without slaying the zombie himself, the trip had been fruitful. Wait, where did that zombie go? It suddenly dawned on Lu Yuan that the Tier 3 zombie was nowhere to be seen. That's odd. It should have returned after dealing with that man. He checked the voyage log. Departure was drawing near, so he dropped the thought and hurried toward his ship. When he reached the harbor, he was stunned. When he had gone ashore, he had counted 3 Tier 2 ships and 1 Tier 3 ship. Now only a single Tier 2 ship remained. The Tier 3 ship belonged to the man who got killed. 1 Tier 2 ship belongs to the guy I took the recall card from. So the rest must have sailed away. Lu Yuan quickly pieced together what had happened. Yuan Ge, you're back. Wang Bingbing and Bai Shui ran out to meet him the moment he boarded. Yeah, I'm back. Did anything happen while I was ashore? Lu Yuan ruffled both their heads and asked about the missing vessels. Shortly after you left, a woman showed up and took one of the Tier 2 ships, Wang Bingbing recalled. Then a man came over. He looked absolutely thrilled, carrying a treasure chest and shouting that he'd struck it rich, Bai Shui added. I see. Nobody here is playing nice. Lu Yuan understood. That man must have been the one chased by the zombie, and somehow he had managed to kill it. He felt a twinge of wariness. He had nearly been outwitted. TCH, I knew those two were bad news. He sighed. Did he dismantle the Tier 3 ship? He tried to mess with our ship too. I fired a burst from the deck and scared him off. Wang Bingbing puffed out her chest proudly. Great job, Bingbing. You're awesome. Lu Yuan smiled and gave her an affectionate pat. The harbor will vanish soon. Let's set sail. His first order of business was to set the marker for the fixed point recall card on his own ship. Minutes later, Lu Yuan stood on the deck watching the harbor fade away. Never underestimate other survivors. What are you thinking about, Yuan Go? Wang Bingbing hopped over beside him. Nothing, just some thoughts. How are the supplies I asked you to sort? Hee, you won't believe it. We got all the blueprints. Wang Bingbing beamed. Only capable players are still alive this far into the game. With our abundant water reserves, trading for construction materials wasn't hard. Wow, I didn't know you were so resourceful, Bingbing. It's not just me. Bai Shui did even better. Wang Bingbing laughed. She just sent a few voice messages to other players, and they gave us tons of materials. Interesting. Lu Yuan shook his head in amusement. Well done to you too, Bai Shui. Let's go check out the greenhouse. He led the two women up to the third deck, where the greenhouse was located. He opened the hatch, and warm air washed over them. Nice setup. Lu Yuan pulled out the bag of seeds he had picked up in port and turned to Bai Shui. Time to use your talent. Yes, Captain. Bai Shui took the seeds and stepped into the greenhouse to plant them. Lu Yuan and Wang Bingbing watched expectantly. A few minutes later, she finished sowing the seeds. She held out both hands, and streams of white light poured from her palms onto the soil. Within minutes, sprouts broke through the dirt. Moments after that, the sprouts grew into small saplings bearing ripe cherry tomatoes. Can we eat these? Lu Yuan swallowed, gazing at the fruit. Absolutely, Captain. Bai Shui plucked one and held it to his mouth. Juice burst across his tongue the moment he bit into it. Incredible. Lu Yuan chewed. Does using your talent drain you a lot? It does, but we have the spiritual restoration pod. Bai Shui smiled. All tier 3 ship upgrades are complete. Those pods work really well. Show me. Lu Yuan's eyes lit up, and they headed outside the greenhouse. 4 pod-like devices stood there, resembling sleep capsules from science fiction films. They were built of metal with transparent panels over the face area. Lu Yuan checked their description. The pods could fully restore physical stats while users slept. They also healed wounds during rest. Their only consumption was water. Water was something their ship had an endless supply. Perfect setup. Lu Yuan chuckled to himself. Bai Shui used her talent in the greenhouse to grow food at the cost of mental energy. She could then recover in the restoration pods, consuming only water. It was practically a self-sustaining loop. Good work, Bai Shui. Lu Yuan gave her a warm, approving smile. Show me the other facilities. 2 more tier 3 upgrades remained, the training hall and the science lab. Wang Bingbing nodded and led him onward. They rounded a corner and saw the sign for the training hall. This is it, Wang Bingbing said. It works like a gravity chamber from Dragon Ball. You can adjust environmental conditions to boost physical attributes. Impressive. We'll test it later. Where is the lab? This way. She pointed ahead. It's a high-tech research facility fully equipped, though the 3 of us don't have much use for it right now. That's easy to fix. We can recruit a skilled researcher later. Lu Yuan grinned. Who would have guessed we'd end up with 2 talented women, one good with machinery and the other with farming? You're teasing us, Captain, the 2 laughed. Bingbing, open this chest. Lu Yuan pulled out the tier 3 treasure chest he had obtained in Rainbow Residential Quarter. Oh, the chest from ashore? Let's see. For most players, a tier 3 chest would be a huge thrill, but Bingbing had seen so many rewards that she remained calm. Ding. Contractor opens treasure chest. Reward obtained. Anti-magic staff ×1. Ding. Multiplier bonus activating. Anti-magic staff ×20. A weapon reward. Lu Yuan grew excited. Combat gear was always highly sought, after in this survival voyage game. He read the item details. Name, anti-magic staff. Type, weapon. Grade, A tier. Description, a heavy, hitting combat staff. It can reveal invisible mutated creatures and deal lethal damage against them. Solid piece of gear. Lu Yuan nodded. This fit his current needs perfectly. Later stages of the game would feature psychic, type invisible mutants that were extremely hard to detect and destroy. Now he had multiple ways to counter them. His brass Swona handled one type of supernatural threat. The anti-magic staff added another powerful option. Alongside his Type 191 rifle, his overall combat capacity had improved greatly. Are you satisfied with the staff, Yuan Go? Seeing him lost in thought, Wang Bingbing worried he disliked the loot. Very satisfied. Lu Yuan pulled her into a reassuring hug. Go get dinner ready. We still have tonight's challenge to complete. He gave her a light pat on the hip. What are we having, Captain? Bai Shui stepped close beside him. Hot pot. Prepare leafy greens in pan. Sear some tomahawk steaks. Understood. The two women turned to get cooking. Left alone, Lu Yuan opened his voyage log and browsed the global player chat. As the game progressed, extreme cold descended. Temperatures across the world plummeted below 0 degrees Celsius. At this moment, the chat channel was still filled with cries of despair. Please everyone, give me some wood. My ship can barely hold together. Haha, you still don't have enough supplies at this point. You're doomed sooner or later. How can you be so cold-hearted? Fellow player, I can't help you, but I'll send you my best wishes. Damn it, stop pretending to be the good guy when we're all in this mess. Reading all the complaints, insults, and curses flooding the chat channel, Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly. Human greed and selfishness were laid bare for all to see in this doomsday game. Hello, Lu Yuan. Would you like to trade for today's intelligence? As Lu Yuan scrolled through the various messages, a private message caught his eye. It was from Lu Sitong. Oh, what's your price? A grin spread across Lu Yuan's face as he replied. I need medicine. Lu Sitong replied almost instantly. Medicine? Sitong, medicine is hard to get currency in the end times. Reading her message, Lu Yuan guessed she must be unwell, which explained her urgent need for medication. I know. I'll trade 3 days of prophecies for it. When Lu Sitong saw Lu Yuan's reply, hope flared inside her. Since he had not said he had no medicine, he must have some in stock. Now it was simply a matter of negotiating the terms. Prophecies alone won't cut it, Lu Yuan wrote with a smile. I also need to know the creature's weaknesses. Hiss. Lu Sitong frowned sharply at his demand. Her divination ability could reveal the weaknesses of mutated creatures, but she had intended to save that information as separate bargaining leverage. She had not expected Lu Yuan to see right through her plan. Her body was growing weaker from fever. She knew this was a buyer's market. Without her intelligence, Lu Yuan would most likely still be able to deal with that day's mutated creature. Very well, I agree. But divination takes a heavy toll on my mental strength. I can only give you 1 reading per day. After little further hesitation, Lu Sitong sent over a trade request and stated the limits of her power. This girl makes quick decisions. Lu Yuan admired her decisiveness upon receiving the request. Sent over on my end. After reading the names of the medicines she needed, Lu Yuan located them within his storage space and completed the trade. Ugh, this guy. Tears welled up in Lu Sitong's eyes as ibuprofen and ganmailing materialized before her. What a relief. She sighed in relief and quickly took the medicine. Several hours remained before the mutated creature would appear. She had to get herself into better condition. Come to think of it, should I try to recruit her? After reviewing Lu Sitong's divination report, an idea crossed Lu Yuan's mind. Tonight's monster was called the Deep Sea Corpse Fiend. It was exactly the same one Lu Yuan had faced in his past life, so he trusted the accuracy of Lu Sitong's divination. No harm in giving it a shot. He shrugged, carefully wording his message instead of making a blunt recruitment offer. He believed she would eventually be drawn to the ample living conditions aboard his ship, so a subtle approach would work better. How about an employment contract? Chuckling to himself, Lu Yuan drafted his message and sent it along with a formal contract. When there was no reply for quite some time, Lu Yuan did not grow impatient. He stood up to prepare for the incoming mutated creature. Though its name sounded terrifying, the Deep Sea Corpse Fiend would crumble under heavy firepower. Hey Wang Bingbing, are the torpedoes installed yet? Lu Yuan was about to craft more bullets when he remembered the torpedo blueprint they had obtained earlier. With such powerful weapons, ship-mounted machine guns might barely be needed. All set. They've been mounted alongside the hull. I hadn't shown you yet, Brother Yuan. Wang Bingbing hurried over to him. Do you want to take a look now? Lead the way. Lu Yuan nodded. The torpedo launch and aiming controls are in the captain's cabin. Following where Wang Bingbing pointed, Lu Yuan spotted a bright red button. The torpedo tubes are along the ship's side. She guided him to the flank of the Tier 3 vessel. There Lu Yuan finally laid eyes on their devastating new weapon. 4-5 33mm torpedo tubes were embedded horizontally into the pressure hull. Their dark, heavy surfaces glinted cold gray, black under sunlight. Layer upon layer of hydraulic piping, pressure valves and sensor wiring wrapped around each tube, capped by heavy watertight rear hatches. Indicator lights blinked steadily as Lu Yuan observed them. Great. With these, today's fight will wrap up fast. Lu Yuan felt genuine delight at this powerful addition to their ship. Everyone, dinner is ready. Bai Shui's voice called out from the lounge just then. Let's go. We'll plan tonight's battle over food. Lu Yuan nodded at Wang Bingbing and headed for the lounge. For dinner, the 3 of them ate leafy greens alongside pan, seared tomahawk steak they had looted earlier. Thanks to the abundant supplies aboard ship plus goods traded from other players, the two young women now had plenty of cooking equipment at their disposal. Tonight, Bing Bing and I will take positions on the bow. Bai Shui, you stay in the captain's cabin. Lu Yuan bit into his steak as he laid out the plan. Lu Sitong did a divination on tonight's monster. Heavy fire can suppress it. I'll open fire first with the ship-mounted machine gun. If that isn't enough, deploy the torpedoes. Why not use torpedoes right away? Wang Bingbing asked, confused. I want to test how strong our regular weapons really are. Lu Yuan took another bite of steak. This is only the second day. If we waste torpedoes now, what will we do later on? Oh, that makes sense. Wang Bingbing nodded in understanding. Finish eating and get some rest. Night is falling fast. Lu Yuan swallowed his last bite of steak, reminded the two girls, then walked up to the ship's roof. Sitting beside the ship-mounted machine gun, he felt an odd sense of reassurance. Presently, Wang Bingbing joined him after cleaning up the dining area. Brother Yuan, let me ease your tense shoulders. She knelt behind him and began gently massaging his shoulders. As Lu Yuan relaxed under her touch, their ship's navigation log suddenly chimed. Ding! Alert! Stage 2, Deep Sea Corpse Fiend is about to spawn. Captain, please prepare for combat. Here it comes. At the alert, Lu Yuan pulled Wang Bingbing to her feet in one fluid motion, bringing her beside him on the roof. Brother Yuan, you're so strong. Wang Bingbing moved to stand close beside him by the machine gun emplacement. Stay focused now. Lu Yuan tapped her chin lightly, then swiveled the machine gun turret to scan the surrounding waters. Far away, Lu Sitong also heard the navigation log notification. She quickly got to her feet to brace for the incoming assault. Splash, splash. While Lu Yuan scanned the water for the fiend, loud splashing noises erupted in the distance. There it is. Lu Yuan narrowed his eyes. The ship-mounted machine gun was primed and ready to fire. Seconds later, a mangled figure slowly rose up from beneath the waves. Damn, that's disgusting. Beside him, Wang Bingbing had drawn her bow ready to shoot, but recoiled at the sight of the deep-sea corpse fiend. It looked like a rock that had rested on the seabed for ages, its whole body a murky gray-black. Only its rough outline hinted at a once-human shape. Its surface was encrusted with deep-sea shellfish and rotting flesh, viscous unknown fluids oozing constantly through the cracks. Lu Yuan estimated it was roughly 100 meters away, yet a putrid stench already drifted across the water to assault their noses. Ugh, I can't stand waiting for it to keep surfacing. Annoyed by its slow advance, Lu Yuan opened fire. The instant he squeezed the trigger, 14.5mm bullets roared out of the barrel. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Deafening gunfire boomed across the deck. Bullets slammed into the deep-sea corpse fiend's hide, yet its shell-like outer layer only cracked slightly upon impact. Fortunately for Lu Yuan, ammunition for this weapon was virtually unlimited. After taking sustained fire, the wounded fiend grew enraged and charged straight toward their Tier 3 ship. Come on then. Seeing it bearing down on them with its oozing, deformed head, Lu Yuan switched over to incendiary rounds and kept firing. Burned by the incendiary ammunition, the creature grew further enraged and began weaving in an S-shaped pattern as it closed in. Cute trick, Lu Yuan sneered and maintained his rate of fire. Rat-a-tat-tat. Bullets hammered its body. Fast as the fiend twisted and turned, Lu Yuan's bullets traveled faster. Rat-a-tat-tat. Another volley of incendiary shells slammed home. Many of its shell growths were now shattered. A few more well-placed bursts would finish it off. I'll empty one more magazine. Once I'm done, Bai Shui fired the torpedoes. Lu Yuan called over to Wang Bingbing. Understood. Wang Bingbing hurried toward the captain's cabin to pass along the order to Bai Shui. Something feels off. This is tougher than when I fought it in my past life. Lu Yuan shook the distracting thought aside and reloaded, taking aim once more. The fiend's body was pockmarked with bullet wounds. When Lu Yuan temporarily paused fire, a pair of blood-red eyes lit up. It locked onto their ship and accelerated for a suicidal collision. So it wants to take us down with it. Lu Yuan grunted, and the ship-mounted machine gun spewed fire once again. Seconds after his barrage ended, a silver-gray torpedo launched from the side tube. Trailing streams of bubbles, it streaked toward the monster. Boom. A thunderous underwater explosion shook the sea. A massive shockwave blasted seawater high upward into a towering geyser. The fiend's shell incrustations were blown apart, shrapnel flying in every direction. Whoa, that's massive force. Thanks to his high agility stat, Lu Yuan ducked just in time to evade the flying debris. Torn apart by the blast, the corpse fiend's remains released in overwhelming stench. Even at 100 meters the smell had been bad. Now it was nearly enough to make them throw up. Bai Shui, get the ship moving now. Still flat on the roof, Lu Yuan shouted toward the cabin. Without needing further prompting, Bai Shui engaged the engines. The Tier 3 vessel surged forward and sped away from the blast site. Several minutes later, they had put enough distance between themselves and the monster's remains. The three of them finally allowed themselves to retch from the horrid odor. While they were still recovering, the system notification sounded again. Ding! Congratulations, Captain Lu Yuan. You are the first captain to clear this stage. Rewards will now be distributed. A glowing treasure chest materialized onto their deck moments afterward. At any rate, we got first place again. Grinning at the luminous chest, Lu Yuan turned to Wang Bingbing. Open it. Right away. Having mostly served as a messenger through the fight, Wang Bingbing rushed over to the chest. Wow, brother Yuan. It's a Tier 4 treasure chest. Her shocked exclamation echoed across the deck. No way. The system is being this generous? Lu Yuan walked over after regaining his composure. Hurry up and open it. He gave Wang Bingbing a pointed look once he confirmed its rank. Got it. Wang Bingbing lifted the chest lid. Ding. Contract hand has opened treasure chest. Obtained rewards. Unfailing compass ×1, heavy damage diversion card ×1, long-range sonar ×1. Multiplier bonus applied. Unfailing compass ×20, heavy damage diversion card ×20, long-range sonar ×20. Lu Yuan stared at the loot, thoroughly stunned. No wonder high-tier chests are so valuable. These items are really something. Wang Bingbing snapped out of her amazement. She read through the item descriptions and clapped a hand over her mouth. Item name, unfailing compass type, tool grade, grade A description. What matters most on the open ocean? Direction, true to its name, this compass will never let you lose your way. Item name, heavy damage diversion card type, rule-based consumable grade, grade A description. Activate upon taking damage to divert the attack onto any nearby target. The transferred damage is halved. A single target cannot receive diverted damage more than once every 24 hours. Item name, long-range sonar type, tool grade, grade B description. Tired of unseen dangers lurking beneath the waves? This device solves that problem. Lu Yuan knew all three items well. They were rare, powerful tools and rule-based consumables. The heavy damage diversion card in particular was effectively an extra life. Thanks to his multiplier bonus, he now possessed 20 of them. Check whether we can install the sonar and compass right now. If possible, fit them immediately. Lu Yuan decided to make use of them at once. Let me check the installation requirements. Wang Bingbing reviewed the material costs. Brother Yuan, I've got good news and bad news. She looked slightly awkward afterward. Just spit it out. Lu Yuan frowned. We have enough resources, but once installation finishes, we will only have 100 units of plastic remaining. Install them anyway. Lu Yuan gave his answer without hesitation. Thanks to supplies he could obtain through Zhang Long, ordinary resources were no longer a pressing concern. As soon as he spoke, streams of light flew from the item icons toward two spots on the Tier 3 ship's hull. All right, Bai Shui, you and Bingbing check the super trawl net at the stern for any valuable catches. I'll look over the global chat channel. Lu Yuan watched the installation progress. Got it. The two girls headed toward the stern one after another. Lu Yuan walked into the lounge and pulled up the public chat. To his surprise, other players had also managed to defeat their deep-sea corpse fiends fairly quickly. Thank God I looted a pistol in 20 rounds yesterday. I fought the monster for a bit and took it down. Nice work. I went toe-to-toe with mine using a machete. Respect. All I had was a thick wooden club. Lu Yuan is insane. Clearing the monster first yet again. Must have gotten some overpowered lucky drop. Wait a second. Are our deep-sea corpse fiends even the same? Reading the messages, Lu Yuan realized his opponent had been far deadlier than the ones other players faced. Might as well message Zhang Long about this. He closed the chat window and opened his private conversation with Zhang Long elsewhere. Lu Sitong lay exhausted on the deck after fighting and defeating her own deep-sea corpse fiend. That was close. She sighed in relief as she claimed her kill rewards. She had gotten lucky starting out with an assault boat, and her special talent had allowed her to gather decent resources so far. Of course, all of this was only true when compared to other players. When stacked up against Lu Yuan, it simply paled in comparison. After taking a short break, Lu Sitong opened her voyage log. She could only smile helplessly as she watched all the whales and excited chatter flooding the chat channel. For her, however, a far more important task was to seize this chance to gather supplies. Just as Lu Sitong was about to search for supplies in the channel, a private message notification caught her eye. Who would message me privately? Confusion swirled in Lu Sitong's mind. Over these past few days, apart from players trading intelligence with her, almost no one had sent her private messages. And this was clearly not the time for information trades. Curious, Lu Sidong opened the private message channel and immediately saw the message sent by Lu Yuan. Oh, how interesting. Reading Lu Yuan's recruitment notice and the accompanying contract, Lu Sidong let out a cold snort. She thought to herself, how amusing. Do I look like the kind of person who would agree to this? Still, I've got nothing better to do. I might as well cast a divination. Just as Lu Sidong was about to brush Lu Yuan's message aside, an idea popped into her head. Let me divine the outcome of this matter. With that thought, she pulled a stack of tarot cards out of her pocket. They were the companion item granted by her talent. Whoa! Several minutes later, staring at the upright wheel of fortune laid out before her, Lu Sidong's heart began to stir. The upright wheel of fortune signified great fortune and auspicious prospects. Still, I need to test what this man is really like first. A flicker of excitement passed, then another thought occurred to her. She was just a young woman. What if she walked straight into a trap if she went over? Glancing at her spirit value, which was hovering dangerously close to the warning threshold, Lu Sidong decided to take the gamble. She shuffled the cards and prepared to draw, when a sudden wave of dizziness washed over her. Warning, spirit value -1, -1, -1, -1. What's going on? Sensing her spirit value plummeting rapidly, Lu Sidong quickly halted the divination and scattered the cards. Huff, huff, huff. This event cannot be divined. After recovering for a good while, she stared at her spirit value, barely above the critical red line, and was utterly stunned. Interesting, Lu Yuan. I'll sign this contract. She grinned, took the contract Lu Yuan had sent over via the trade system, and signed her name. Ding. Lu Sidong has signed the contract. Begin teleportation now. Lu Yuan had been negotiating resource trades with Zhang Long when the sudden system prompt caught him completely off guard. Wait a minute, Lu Sidong signed the contract. He nearly spat out the water in his mouth upon hearing the notification. Teleport immediately. Though he had no idea what had driven her to make this decision, he confirmed the teleportation without hesitation. He then hurried out onto the deck. Huh? Brother Yuan, is another girl coming over? Wang Bingbing, who was in the captain's cabin, saw his movement and guessed what was happening. Yeah, a new crew member. Lu Yuan smiled at Wang Bingbing and Bai Shui, who stood beside him looking expectant, then lifted his gaze toward the sky. A few seconds later, a rift opened above his head, and a figure tumbled out from within. Wow, all of you have pretty impressive builds, Lu Yuan joked as he watched the falling figure. Between the two women, Wang Bingbing had a youthful face paired with a curvy figure, while Bai Shui embodied the classic, elegant, mature beauty. And Lu Sidong landed straight into Lu Yuan's arms. After days trapped inside this game, apart from lucky players like Lu Yuan who had obtained rare ships from the start, most survivors were in terrible shape. Lu Sidong was no exception. She wore tattered denim clothing, wrapped in a thin blanket to retain heat, barely keeping herself from freezing in the sub-zero temperatures. She had delicate features and a straight, refined nose. Though grime coated her face, her flawless bone structure shone through, evoking a strong sense of sympathy. What surprised Lu Yuan most was her striking figure, far exceeding his previous assumptions about fashion model students. Boss, are you done staring yet? Just as Lu Yuan was distracted by her appearance, a soft voice reached his ears. Oh, you're awake. Lu Yuan blinked and said, if you're feeling all right, you can stand down and take a few steps. Hey, I'm your employee. Can't you tell I'm in rough shape? To Lu Yuan's surprise, she stretched out her slender arms and looped them around his neck. In rough shape, Lu Yuan leaned back slightly and decided to check her status panel. Player basic information name, Lu Sidong ID, 12345 Constitution, 30 Agility, 30 Perception, 80 Spirit, 30-80 Strength, 20 Talent. Tarot divination status, poor. Whoa, Lu Yuan gasped when he saw her perception and spirit stats. With 2 lifetimes of experience in this game, he knew stats as high as 80 for perception and spirit were extremely rare. But after processing those shocking values, the rest of her stats left much to be desired. Truly a glass cannon. But why is her current spirit value so low? After marveling at her astonishing base stats, Lu Yuan fell into thought. The deep-sea corpse monsters they faced earlier were not creatures that attacked the spirit. Wait, could it be? A thought dawned on him, and he asked teasingly, you tried to divine me, didn't you? Ah, don't bring that up. Can I get some supplies to recover quickly? Caught red-handed, Lu Sidong's cheeks flushed, and she buried her face against his shoulder. I didn't expect you to be this forward. Lu Yuan was taken aback by her reaction. Bing bing, Take Sitong to have a wash, then send her into the spiritual recovery nutrition pod to restore her condition. He knew recovery was the top priority right now and quickly made arrangements. Got it, Brother Yuan. Wang Bingbing smiled and stepped forward from the side. Wait, boss, you have showers on this ship. Lu Sitong instantly lifted her head from his arm. Work hard, girl. You'll find plenty more things on this vessel to amaze you. Lu Yuan set Lu Sitong down on the deck and patted her shoulder with a grin. Come along, Sitong. Wang Bingbing looked at her, reminded of how shocked she had been when she first arrived. Rest up first, we can talk later. Lu Yuan noticed she had more questions she wanted to ask and comforted her, gesturing for Wang Bingbing to lead her away. Lu Yuan was eager to send her to freshen up not only because she was covered in dirt, but also because he was curious about what new talent he would unlock. Ding! Detected contracted crew member Lu Sitong. Her talent, Tarot Divination. Initiating talent mutation. Congratulations, Captain. You have obtained talent, Danger Sense. Talent, Danger Sense. Description, mutated from Tarot Divination. The captain can actively or passively sense the surrounding environment to avoid threats and seek opportunities. Rank, A evaluation. One catch, this ability only alerts you to a shift in fate. It cannot tell you whether what's coming is danger or good fortune. Wow, that means my perception effectively has no upper limit. After reading the talent description, Lu Yuan opened his voyage log to check his stats. Next to his perception value sat a bracket containing the infinity symbol. That makes sense. He smiled helplessly at the change. All right, I should go check on Bai Shui in the captain's cabin. Once he confirmed his new talent, Lu Yuan headed to find Bai Shui. Over the next few days, aside from the fixed ports they would encounter daily, they also needed to carefully calculate their route to evade the black fog chasing them. Right now, the black fog was still more than 100 nautical miles behind their Tier 3 ship. While Lu Yuan headed toward the captain's cabin, Lu Sitong was utterly stunned by everything she saw on board. No way, temperature-controlled rooms, private bathrooms. All of this has been on your ship for a long time. She stared at her surroundings, feeling as if she were dreaming. Hee, Brother Yuan's capabilities speak for themselves. Wang Bingbing felt a surge of pride seeing her reaction. Here are some clothes for you. After your shower, change into these, and I'll take you to the nutrition and rest pod to restore your spirit value. Wang Bingbing handed her a set of garments with a smile. A spiritual recovery nutrition pod? What's that? She had heard Lu Yuan mention it earlier, but had not gotten the chance to ask. You'll find out after your shower. Wang Bingbing grinned, refusing to elaborate. Understood. Still reeling from the sight of the onboard bathroom, Lu Sitong turned and stepped into the washroom. Soon, the sound of running water echoed out. How is the ship's current sailing speed? Lu Yuan walked into the captain's cabin and asked Bai Shui, who was steering the ship with full concentration. Captain, everything is steady. I've been tracking the distance of the black fog on the voyage log. Based on our travel speed these days, we will reach the safe zone on schedule. Bai Shui turned her head to report. Good to hear. Nice work, Bai Shui. Lu Yuan nodded, then walked behind her and gently rested a hand on her waist as they monitored the navigation data together. Back on the upper level, Lu Sitong finished washing and stepped out of the bathroom a short while later. You finished already? Wang Bingbing smiled when she saw her. We have an unlimited supply of fresh water here, you know. Oh, I'm fine. I'm thoroughly clean now. Lu Sitong was shocked once more. She had assumed they simply possessed large water reserves, never imagining the supply was endless. At that moment, she felt even more grateful she had agreed to sign the contract. All right then, follow me. I'll show you the nutrition pod. Wang Bingbing could guess what she was thinking but did not comment, leading her toward the upper deck. By the way, senior sister, can you tell me more about that pod? Lu Sitong could no longer hold back her curiosity as they climbed the stairs. Simple enough. It's an upgrade available for Tier 3 ships. It can gradually restore all your attributes. Wang Bingbing explained in plain terms. Incredible. Lu Sitong exclaimed in surprise. That's nothing. We have even more surprises. They reached the 3rd floor. Wang Bingbing opened the door to the greenhouse and gestured for Lu Sitong to look inside. Take a look at this. Unbelievable. Even after mentally preparing herself, Lu Sitong was stunned at the rows of lush green vegetables growing within the greenhouse. Count yourself lucky to be aboard Brother Yuan's ship. Wang Bingbing laughed. The nutrition pod is right over here. Okay. Lu Sitong snapped out of her shock and followed closely. Turning the corner, she spotted several metallic pods lined up. Senior Sister Bingbing, are these the nutrition pods? That's right. You can enter once you're ready. Wang Bingbing nodded. Fun fact, you're the first person to use them. Huh. Lu Sitong grew nervous instantly. No need to be anxious. You've got a great figure. Wang Bingbing pulled her into the pod, closed the hatch, waved through the transparent surface, and then left. Wait. Lu Sitong called out, but the pod had excellent sound insulation, and Wang Bingbing could not hear her. Shortly after, nutrient fluid filled the pod, and Lu Sitong's body was enveloped in an unprecedented sense of comfort. She closed her eyes, completely relaxing. After settling Lu Sitong in the pod, Wang Bingbing headed toward the lounge to rest. Just as she stepped through the doorway, she heard running water coming from the bathroom. Brother Yuan must be back. She assumed Lu Yuan was taking a shower and pushed open the bathroom door without a second thought. To her embarrassment, Bai Shui was also inside, finishing her warm-up routine. Ah, Brother Yuan, did I come at a bad time? Wang Bingbing blushed awkwardly. Not at all. You've arrived just when we could use another pair of hands. Lu Yuan smiled and held out his arms from across the room. Understood. Wang Bingbing stepped forward to join them. The next day, a soft chime echoed. The hatch of the nutrition pod slid open automatically, and Lu Sitong slowly opened her eyes. It had been a very long time since she had felt so refreshed since the game began. She changed clothes and walked toward the lounge. Upon entering the room, she saw Wang Bingbing and Bai Shui resting on the bed. Oh, realizing what had taken place, Lu Sitong turned to leave quickly. You're fully recovered? She was just about to step out when she ran into Lu Yuan, who was brushing his teeth. Yes, boss. Lu Sitong bowed her head shyly like a child who had made a mistake. As she lowered her gaze, she grew even more flustered. Lu Yuan was only wearing shorts, and she could clearly see his athletic build. Welcome officially aboard. Food is ready downstairs. Go eat something. Lu Yuan did not seem to notice her embarrassment and walked toward the bed after speaking. Oh, okay. Afraid of interrupting their rest, Lu Sitong hurried toward the lower deck. Ding. Talent Golden Rod activated. Contractee, Lu Sitong. Contract type, Emotional Reliance. Return multiplier, 5. Just as Lu Yuan was about to wake the two women resting on the bed, the system notification sounded in his mind. Emotional Reliance only formed now. Lu Yuan did not pay it much mind. He had recruited Lu Sitong mainly for her divination talent, and resource multipliers were merely an added bonus. He tapped the bed gently to rouse them. Brother Yuan. Captain. The two women stirred awake, blinking sleepily. Are you still tired? Wang Bingbing mumbled. Brother Yuan, my body feels a little sore. I'm quite full and don't feel like moving right now either, Bai Shui said, rubbing her eyes. Hey, morning already. Time for breakfast. Lu Yuan stared at them, speechless. Right. The pair snapped awake instantly. Seeing daylight outside the window, they scrambled to get dressed in embarrassment. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes and headed back to the captain's cabin. Hey Lu Sitong, did you skip meals for ages? Lu Yuan walked into the captain's cabin and saw Lu Sitong eating happily, food smudged around her mouth. Sorry, boss. I've been extremely hungry. Lu Sitong swallowed an egg and smiled apologetically when she turned and spotted him. We can take care of cooking. It's normal for her to eat like this after everything she's been through. Wang Bingbing and Bai Shui walked down after getting dressed and laughed at the sight of her messy face. All right, get cooking then. Lu Yuan waved his hand helplessly. He then walked over and opened his voyage log to check the latest information. Leaving Lu Sitong to steer the ship and the other two to prepare meals, Lu Yuan opened the voyage log. Time, Day 6. Region, C857857. Current weather, overcast, 5 degrees Celsius, north wind. Surviving players, 87,000/100,000. Port arrival countdown, 4 hours. Voyage challenge game countdown, 5 days. Rewards for players who survive the 5th day's trial have been deployed near vessels. Collect them at your convenience. Nearly 3,000 players eliminated overnight. Lu Yuan rubbed his temples with a sigh. He shifted his focus to the player trade channel. His conversation with Zhang Long the previous day had been cut short by Lu Sitong's arrival, and he intended to resume negotiations. Zhang Long was in urgent need of weapons, and Lu Yuan possessed the blueprint for ship-mounted machine guns. He planned to trade these for the resources he required. Long, let's continue yesterday's trade. Lu Yuan opened the private chat channel and sent a message to the other party. Hee, Brother Yuan, you're online. What's up? Got any weapons you can sell to me? Zhang Long's message popped up instantly on the chat window. I have blueprints for ship-mounted machine guns. Do you need them? After a short pause, Lu Yuan stated what he wanted to trade. Haha, I need them badly. Lu Yuan could clearly sense Zhang Long's excitement from the chat box, and the man quickly followed up. Brother Yuan, name your price. 2,000 units of resources per blueprint. After a moment, Lu Yuan gave his asking price. He planned to gather the resources required to upgrade to a Tier 4 ship through this deal with Zhonglong, 2,000 apiece. There was a brief silence before Zhonglong replied. Wait, Brother Yuan, do you have multiple copies? That's right. Lu Yuan admitted he held several blueprints, then added after a short pause. Just so you know, a single vessel can only mount one of these weapons. Haha, Brother Yuan, I got in touch with my dorm mates. Guess what? The three of us each command a different resource ship. If you've got extra, you could help my two buddies out. Huh. Right after Lu Yuan issued the reminder, Zhang Long brought up this unexpected piece of news. Alright. I happen to have 3 copies. A grin tugged at Lu Yuan's lips. With this deal, he would have a steady supply of timber, metal, and plastic resources going forward. Since you want to help your friends, I'll show some sincerity. 1,800 units of resources per blueprint. To maintain this stable partnership, Lu Yuan lowered his exchange rate directly. Ha ha ha, Brother Yuan, you're truly generous. Zhang Long laughed out loud upon seeing the message. It's a deal then. I pulled a bottle of vintage liquor from a loot crate a few days back. We ought to share a drink sometime. Sounds good. Lu Yuan was not one to hesitate, and he agreed with a smile. Shortly afterwards, Lu Yuan and Zhang Long completed the transaction as a gesture to uphold future cooperation. Lu Yuan generously included a batch of ammunition as a bonus. Damn, Brother Yuan, you're my real lifesaver. Zhang Long sent the message followed by 3 exclamation marks after receiving the goods. It's nothing. We have to look out for each other in times like this. Lu Yuan could easily picture the wide smile on Zhang Long's face. Ding. Approaching solo Tier 4 port. Captain, please prepare accordingly. Oh wow, a Tier 4 port. Lu Yuan froze for a second upon hearing the notification, then scrapped his original plan of skipping port landings for the day. If it had been a low-tier port, he would have sailed straight past to keep moving. The black fog was already closing in behind him. But this was the first Tier 4 port he had encountered since the game began, and it was a solo instance. He simply had to explore it. Set course. Lu Yuan tilted his head and signaled by Shui to steer the ship toward the port. A few minutes later, the group caught sight of the port. Ding. Arrived at Tier 4 port, City of the Undead. Maximum stay time, 2 hours. City of the Undead. Interesting. Lu Yuan grinned at the port's name, then turned to Lu Sitong. Can you cast a divination, my great priestess? Of course. Lu Sitong began shuffling her tarot cards immediately. Boss, the reading shows neither good nor bad omens. There may be special rewards waiting. By the time the ship docked, Lu Sitong finished her divination. Neither good nor bad means everything will go smoothly. Lu Yuan chuckled and turned toward the 3 women. You 3 stay here and keep watch. I'm going to scout ahead. Man the machine guns. Boss, are you sure you don't need us to come along? Lu Sitong looked worried at the thought of Lu Yuan heading in alone. I'll be fine. Lu Yuan made a reassuring gesture, checked his firearms, then disembarked and walked toward the city. Don't worry. Brother Yuan will call for us if he needs help. Wang Bingbing patted the dejected Lu Sitong on the shoulder to comfort her. Lu Yuan had already reached the city entrance. To his surprise, as he peered into the city, the streets were littered with rubbish but eerily quiet. It hardly matched the named City of the Undead. Where there's odd silence, danger lurks. His new danger sense talent had not triggered any warnings, yet Lu Yuan resolved to stay cautious. He stepped into the city. After wandering through the streets, Lu Yuan was shocked to find not a single zombie. Are you kidding me? After sweeping the surrounding area and confirming there were no zombies in sight, Lu Yuan began systematically searching for supplies. The chance to explore an entire city within a port was a rare opportunity. Yet his shock only grew. He searched several shops along the street and found nothing at all. Unbelievable. Frowning, he scanned his surroundings and spotted a large supermarket. I'll check that place out. If the supermarket was also empty, he would retreat without delay. The whole situation felt far too strange. As Lu Yuan neared the supermarket entrance, his danger sense suddenly flared, sounding the alarm in his mind. Shit. Lu Yuan dropped to the ground instantly and scanned his surroundings. Around the supermarket corner stood a dense horde of zombies. Holy hell. Every hair on Lu Yuan's body stood on end at the sight of countless zombies filling the street. He was about to turn and run when a strange thought surfaced in his mind. Wait a minute. Why are they so quiet? He twisted around to observe again. Sure enough, every single zombie had its eyes shut. No way. Seeing the motionless horde, Lu Yuan worked up the courage to step forward and examine one zombie closely. All the zombies lining the street stood rigid and still, as if they were asleep. Fascinating. Lu Yuan studied them further and noticed a pattern. All the zombies were standing in shaded areas, afraid of sunlight. A possibility occurred to him. He pulled out the staff of banishment he had obtained earlier to test his theory. Boom. A single strike blew the first zombie's head apart like a watermelon, and the corpse crumpled to the ground. Interesting. Growing bolder, Lu Yuan dragged one zombie out into direct sunlight. Just as he suspected, the zombie crumbled into ashes the moment it touched sunlight. So that's their weakness. Relief washed over Lu Yuan. It seemed clearing the area was achievable. So many zombies. This is perfect for my talent. Staring at the horde, his mind raced. If he eliminated all these zombies on the street, he would earn plenty of free attribute points. Time to fight. He wasted no time, wielding the staff of banishment and cutting down zombies along the street. Several minutes later, looking at the trail of fallen undead, Lu Yuan smiled and activated Spirit Convergence to absorb their residual energy. Ding! Spirit Convergence activated. Converted to 0.1 free attribute points. Ding! Spirit Convergence activated. Converted to 0.1 free attribute points. Ding! Spirit Convergence activated. Converted to 0.1 free attribute points. He continued clearing the area and finally gained a total of 10 free attribute points. Not bad. Let me check out the rest of the area. Lu Yuan held onto the attribute points without allocating them yet and decided to explore further. This place was classified as a Tier 4 port for a reason. What he had seen so far was far from worthy of that rank. As Lu Yuan prepared to explore the surrounding streets, he spotted a small door he had overlooked earlier. The supermarket back entrance. He shrugged, raised his staff, and smashed the door open. After confirming there was no immediate threat, he stepped inside. Disappointingly, the supermarket looked thoroughly looted, with nothing left inside. Did someone clear this place out long before I arrived? He wandered through multiple floors of the supermarket and found absolutely no supplies. Only the underground level remained unsearched. Since he had come this far, Lu Yuan decided to take a quick look before leaving. But when he stood at the entrance to the basement, the scene before him left him stunned. The basement was packed full of zombies. What shocked him most was not just their sheer numbers. He stood in the only patch of light in the basement. Since the zombies feared illumination, every single one faced away from him. The basement was dim, so the zombies were not fully dormant. Low groans echoed through the space as Lu Yuan appeared. Forget this. I'm not risking it. Though he craved the attribute points these zombies would provide, Lu Yuan hesitated. If he accidentally roused the entire horde, his danger sense could not get him out instantly. Better to leave. Lu Yuan exhaled and prepared to retreat. Before he turned away, however, one spot in the basement caught his eye. No zombies lingered there. Moreover, the undead seemed to detest that spot, crowding around it yet refusing to step foot on it. Now that's curious. What could be over there? Two conflicting thoughts battled in his mind. Great rewards await great risks, versus curiosity kills the cat. Wait, I have spatial recall. Just as the two sides of his internal debate clashed, he remembered the special tool he had claimed previously. I'm going for it. He retrieved spatial recall from his storage space and carefully edged toward the area the zombies avoided. Pushing through the dense horde, Lu Yuan finally saw what they were shunning. An off-road vehicle was parked there, and atop it rested a Tier 4 treasure chest. Haha, jackpot. The sight of the high-tier chest made him certain this detour had been worthwhile. He waved a hand and stowed the vehicle and treasure chest inside his spatial ring, then turned to head back upstairs. Crack! Damn it! As Lu Yuan moved toward the stairs, he stepped on a dry twig and snapped it cleanly in two. In an instant, every zombie's head twisted toward his position. Shit! Faced with countless undead staring straight at him, Lu Yuan froze, unsure whether to run or fight. Lu Yuan waited, hoping the zombies would remain passive. But the nearest zombie lunged for him without warning. One after another, the entire horde surged forward in pursuit. Enough of this. His finger already rested on the trigger, and he opened fire. He held off using spatial recall because danger sense had not flagged him as facing imminent death. He chose to fight his way out. The stairwell was not far. He shot down the closest zombies to carve a path and sprinted upward. He thought reaching the upper floors would shake off the pursuit, only to discover the sky outside had turned pitch black. Have I been exploring that long? He gripped his staff, thoroughly confused by the sudden darkness. No, the local time here works differently. He checked his voyage log and confirmed the overall time limit had not expired. He realized the port operated on its own separate day-night cycle. Night had fallen, and the zombies were fully active. Annoying, but no warning means I can fight my way through. I'll retreat once things turn dangerous. Danger sense confirmed no immediate fatal threat, and Lu Yuan steeled himself. He fired continuously while moving upward. This was a zombie, clearing tactic players had figured out in his past life. Rat, a tat tat. Lu Yuan retreated up the stairs, controlling his rate of fire. Fortunately, the supermarket layout was complex with plenty of obstacles, slowing the zombies' advance significantly. I've got another trick for you. Seeing the horde closing in, Lu Yuan summoned Zombie Master Qian from his storage. The yellow-robed Taoist had gifted him this creature back at the Qian Manor mortuary. Lu Yuan directed Master Qian to charge straight into the zombie horde. The zombies froze at the sight of the strange being, then swarmed toward him instead. Luckily, Master Qian's body was far too tough for ordinary zombies to bite through, letting him hold the horde at bay. Lu Yuan reloaded his weapon and scanned the surroundings. He noticed a hidden small shop, and his danger sense triggered, signaling valuable items within. Let's check it out first. He fired a burst of bullets to pull Master Qian out of danger. Then the man and the zombie rushed toward the shop. With the horde blocked behind them, Lu Yuan slipped inside and barred the door firmly. The zombies crashed against the door the second it shut, shaking the frame violently. Glancing at the sturdy barrier, Lu Yuan began exploring the shop. This must have been a pet shop before the disaster struck. Though he could not read the local script, photographs of pets and animal supplies lined the walls. Interesting, a pet shop. Think I'll find pet food here. Gripping his pistol, Lu Yuan patrolled the interior. As he rounded a corner, a faint whimper reached his ears. He hurried toward the sound, shocked by what he discovered. A small white puppy lay huddled in the corner. How is there a dog in a place like this? The puppy was covered in grime, with a half-empty bag of pet food beside it. Lu Yuan pictured it struggling to survive through the chaos. Want to come with me? After confirming there were no other survivors, and the puppy had not been bitten, Lu Yuan asked tentatively. Woof! To his surprise, the puppy bounded toward him without hesitation. That feels a little odd. Though something felt strange about the creature, Lu Yuan stored it safely inside his portable storage space. He then glanced outside. Daylight had returned to the zone, and all the zombies began to retreat back into the shadows. All right, time to harvest the undead energy. Lu Yuan was curious about the port's strange day-night cycle. But this was not the moment to investigate. He recalled Master Qian, then stepped outside and activated Spirit Convergence to convert all the fallen zombies into attribute points. Another 10 free attribute points appeared in his status panel. Lu Yuan let out a quiet breath. This Tier 4 port expedition had been full of twists and turns, but he left with a Tier 4 treasure chest and 20 free attribute points. All things considered, it was a resounding success. He did not need to activate spatial recall. He wanted to scout the surrounding area further. This independent day-night cycle was something he had never encountered before, and it deserved further study. Still, he found no clear pattern by the time he exited the port. I'll have to figure it out if I come back someday. Lu Yuan took one last look at City of the Undead before boarding his ship. Brother Yuan, you're back. The three women lit up with relief upon seeing him return safely. Naturally, your captain is far too capable to get into trouble. Lu Yuan smiled at their greetings. Brother Yuan, what did you find in there? Once they confirmed he was unharmed, Wang Bingbing asked. I brought back quite a haul. Lu Yuan pulled out the Tier 4 treasure chest and the white puppy from storage. Wow. All three girls' attention immediately locked onto the puppy. How can there be a dog inside the port? Wang Bingbing picked up the small white dog, utterly confused. It's likely a survivor. Lu Yuan relaxed, the tension of exploration fading away. The zombie outbreak in this port probably didn't happen too long ago, which let this little one stay alive. But boss, didn't you say there wasn't any supplies left? Lu Sitong asked with a look of confusion upon hearing Lu Yuan's guess. They might have been relocated, or everything could have already been looted clean. Lu Yuan shook his head and continued. I didn't explore too deeply, but I believe there should still be survivors in that city. If that's the case, everything makes sense now. Bai Shui nodded, agreeing with Lu Yuan's reasoning. By the way, do any of you know what breed this dog is? Watching the small white pup remain calm, surrounded by the group, Lu Yuan grew curious. It should be a Chinese hound. After observing the dog for a moment, Lu Sitong gave her judgment. Oh, a Chinese hound. It looks to be in decent condition then. I thought it was starving badly. Lu Yuan stroked the puppy and said, how about we give it a name? Hee, its fur is pure white. Let's call it Xiao Bai. Bai Shui spoke up. Isn't that a bit plain? Lu Yuan glanced at the listless dog and commented on the name. What about Xiao Dian? Lu Sitong suggested. From what I've read in myths, Later generations speculate that the legendary hound accompanying Erling God was a Chinese hound. Woof, woof, woof. Before anyone else could respond to Lu Sidong, the formerly lethargic dog barked excitedly. Wow, looks like it loves that name. Lu Yuan laughed at the dog's reaction. Then Xiaodian it is. Woof, woof, woof. Upon hearing Lu Yuan's decision, Xiaodian began circling around excitedly on the deck. All right, Bing Bing, open the crate. Bai Shui, take Xiaodian to get cleaned up. Having settled this matter, Lu Yuan smiled and gestured toward Wang Bingbing to unlock the treasure chest, instructing Bai Shui to bathe the dog. Got it. Wang Bingbing blew on her hands as usual and opened the level 4 treasure chest. Ding. Detected contractor Wang Bingbing opening treasure chest. Obtain supplies. Autopilot module ×1. Type 201 squad machine gun ×1. Universal ammunition ×100. Heavy strike transfer card ×1. Activating multiplier return. Autopilot module ×20. Type 201 squad machine gun ×20. Universal ammunition ×2000. Heavy strike transfer card ×20. Lu Yuan's eyes widened when he saw the items from the level 4 treasure chest. The autopilot module was something he had wanted for a very long time. The Type 201 squad machine gun was powerful enough to pierce light infantry armored vehicles. Perfect. Install the autopilot module right away. Lu Yuan issued the order without hesitation. Item, autopilot module. Required materials, lumber ×100, metal ×300, plastic ×200. Electronic core ×1. Detected sufficient construction materials. Commence construction? Construct. Seeing all required resources were ready, Lu Yuan agreed immediately. A flash of light streaked out, and the sounds of construction echoed from the captain's cabin shortly afterward. Excellent. As expected of a level 4 treasure chest, these supplies suit our needs perfectly. Lu Yuan stared toward the captain's cabin with a grin. Yuan, I have something to tell you. As Lu Yuan watched the autopilot module being built, Wang Bingbing walked over. What is it? He frowned, noticing her serious expression. Survivors in our region have started forming groups in the regional chat channel today. Wang Bingbing finished speaking and handed over the nautical log. Oh, Lu Yuan paused, then quickly realized what this meant. Group alliances were common in the apocalypse. In his past life, he had lost everything precisely because of such alliances. Right now, multiple factions were actively recruiting members in the chat channel, creating quite a stir. Dragon Tyrant Squad is recruiting. Come join us, brothers. Let us overcome hardships together and clear this game. The Rose Society opens recruitment. Sisters, in this apocalypse, relying on men brings no security. Only mutual support among women can carry us through. Optimus Prime Team is recruiting. I spawned with a warship, currently Tier 3 with all auxiliary upgrades complete. Preparing to advance to Tier 4. Only skilled players need apply. Whoa, it's really lively in here. Lu Yuan chuckled after skimming the chat logs. To his surprise, he spotted an advertisement posted by Zhang Long. Zhang Long ran an operation called Maritime Supermarket, focusing on resource trading, and the site made Lu Yuan hold back laughter. Yuan, should we do something? Wang Bingbing asked once Lu Yuan finished reading the logs. Do something? Like what? Lu Yuan shook his head with a smile. The weak seek companionship. The strong walk alone. Yuan/captain/boss. The three women were stirred by his words. This was exactly the bearing of a top-tier powerhouse. In an instant, Lu Yuan's image grew far taller in their eyes. Calm down now. Since the channel is so bustling, let's give everyone a little shock. Seeing their reaction, Lu Yuan grinned and pulled out the blueprint for upgrading to a level 4 vessel. Originally, he had planned to upgrade the ship once they reached the safe zone. But the mood was right, and it simply wasn't his style not to make a splash. In his previous life, he had been too low-key and accommodating, only to be trampled mercilessly in the end. If he repeated those mistakes in this lifetime, his rebirth would mean nothing. As the thought crossed his mind, the system prompt for the level 4 blueprint appeared. Upgrade to level 4 vessel requires lumber ×800, metal ×900, plastic ×600, electronic core ×1. All required materials available. Proceed with upgrade? Upgrade. Without a shred of hesitation, Lu Yuan confirmed. A beam of light shot forth from the blueprint, enveloping the original Tier 3 ship entirely. Standing on the deck, Lu Yuan and the three women watched the transformation unfold with anticipation. Before their eager eyes, the Tier 3 vessel expanded outward within the luminous shroud. The steel hull visibly thickened by over 10 centimeters. Once the hull thickness stabilized, Rows of long, sharp spikes sprouted across the ship's exterior, glinting coldly under sunlight. Next came the most prominent change of the Level 4 vessel. The ship expanded to 4 decks. The original roof of the vessel rose as metal accumulated, lifting the shipboard machine gun and anti-magic shield controls upward. It was not long before the 4-story expansion finished, and the whole ship grew larger overall. Wow, the upgrade is complete. The 3 women and Xiaodian stared in shock at the matte dark gray hull after transformation. The gap between a Tier 3 and Tier 4 vessel stretched far beyond material quality. The structural integrity had leaped to an entirely new level. Those surrounding spikes alone would intimidate anyone attempting to draw near. Though he had seen Level 4 ships in his past life, Lu Yuan still felt a surge of awe and pride witnessing his own vessel finish upgrading. No matter how impressive others' possessions were, nothing compared to what belonged to him. With that thought, Lu Yuan took out his nautical log to check the vessel stats. Name: 4-story iron vessel. Tonnage: 5. Level: LV4. Durability: 300. Armaments: shipboard machine gun, anti-magic shield, demon, repelling lamp, torpedoes. Physical defense: 200, capable of withstanding attacks from low-tier and select mid-tier mutated creatures. Magic resistance: 100. Finally, you found a way to raise your magic resistance. Storage space: 90. Description: the arrival of a Level 4 vessel marks one of the most exciting milestones in this game. The gates to the world of nautical survival have creaked open for you. Hee, this is excellent. Lu Yuan's lips curled upward. Not only had tonnage and physical defense risen sharply, his vessel now possessed magic resistance, no longer stuck at 0. As the description stated, reaching Level 4 meant truly stepping across the threshold of the game. After reviewing the log, Lu Yuan waited eagerly for the trait roll. Ding. Detected captain vessel upgraded to Level 4. Commencing Level 4 trait draw. With the system notification echoing in his mind, the massive golden roulette wheel appeared once more. The wheel spun rapidly and slowly ground to a halt, the pointer settling on a trait. Resource conversion enhancement? What does this mean? Lu Yuan frowned at the result. Every trait draw always brought something new. Ding. Resource conversion enhancement. Basic resources can be converted at a 90% exchange rate. For example, 100 units of lumber can be turned into 90 units of metal or plastic. Additionally, all resources can be upgraded at a 10-to-1 ratio. 10 units of metal can be refined into 1 unit of high-grade steel, and so forth. Resource enhancement carries a chance to trigger lucky synthesis. Holy hell! Lu Yuan was stunned by the newly unlocked trait. This ability was utterly game-changing. Leaving resource exchange aside, the capacity to refine raw materials alone was enough to let him dominate these waters. Yuan, we're the first to reach a Level 4 vessel again. The chat channel has blown up once more. Wang Bingbing interrupted Lu Yuan's shock. Really? Lu Yuan opened his nautical log to check. Just like last time, the system broadcast the news worldwide when Lu Yuan became the first captain to upgrade to a Level 4 ship. Upon seeing the announcement, all players reacted with shock, followed by countless recruitment messages. Haha, it's Lu Yuan again. How about joining Dragon Tyrant Squad? Let's clear this game side by side. Wow, Lu Yuan is the first to get a Level 4 vessel once again. The Rose Society is willing to make an exception and recruit you. We can cooperate closely. Lu Yuan, you're the true top player of this game. Optimus Prime team needs talent like you. Come join us. Senior Lu Yuan, please take me under your wing. Lu Yuan, I'm willing to cooperate fully if you let me sail alongside you. Humph, a pack of opportunists, nothing more. Lu Yuan shook his head and ignored the flood of messages. He turned to Wang Bingbing instead. Speaking of which, is there no upgrade reward this time? There absolutely is, Captain. Bai Shui ran over quickly. A Level 4 treasure chest has appeared on the deck. Great, let's go take a look. Lu Yuan headed for the deck with the 3 women and Xiaodian. A Level 4 treasure chest sat waiting on the planks. Bing Bing. Lu Yuan gestured for her to open it. Hee on it. Wang Bingbing stepped forward and unlocked the treasure chest. Ding. Detected contractor Wang Bingbing opening treasure chest. Rewards received. Primary genetic potion ×1. Primary healing potion ×1. Primary mental potion ×1. Type 1130 CIWS blueprint ×1. CIWS ammunition ×10,000. Ding. Activating multiplier return. Primary genetic potion ×20. Primary healing potion ×20. Primary mental potion ×20. Type 1130 CIWS blueprint ×20. CIWS ammunition ×200000. No way. Could I really be blessed with unmatched luck? Lu Yuan could barely believe his eyes when he saw the loot. The Type 1130 CIWS. The 11-barrel 30mm close. In weapon system capable of firing 10,000 rounds per minute. We've struck gold. Once this is installed, I'll hold absolute dominance within a 2-kilometer radius. Lu Yuan's excitement surged at the sight of the blueprint. Wait, I can test out the new resource trait now. As Lu Yuan marveled at the generous rewards from the system, he suddenly remembered the newly obtained resource conversion enhancement ability. Thanks to his goldenrod talent and Wang Bingbing's 20-fold return, he now possessed 21 Type 1130 CIWS blueprints. Could he synthesize them? Let's do it. Lu Yuan pulled out 10 Type 1130 CIWS blueprints and activated his resource synthesis trait. Ding. Detected Captain attempting synthesis using 10 Type 1130 CIWS blueprints. Confirm? Confirm. Lu Yuan thought silently. Ding. Commencing synthesis, please wait. Ding. Synthesis complete. Result, 130mm naval gun. Lucky synthesis triggered, 1 complimentary shell included. Haha, a 130mm naval gun. Am I seeing this right? Lu Yuan felt lightheaded with joy. The 130mm naval gun was the primary armament of modern Chinese destroyers, and he had crafted it directly. What's more, his very first synthesis triggered a lucky synthesis bonus, granting an extra shell. With his talent to craft ammunition freely, he would have an endless supply of rounds for the naval gun. Yuan, that level 4 treasure chest really delivered, Wang Bingbing said. Eyes sparkling. Sure did. The 3 women knew nothing of his synthesis ability, so they only marveled at the treasure chest rewards, which were impressive enough on their own. All right, let's stow all these supplies. Sitong, can you perform your divination for tonight's mutated creatures? Once everything was stored safely, Lu Yuan turned to Lu Sitong. I already finished the divination. Lu Sitong smiled. Tonight's creatures target mental capabilities. A lot of survivors will run into trouble. Is that so? I think we stand to make a tidy profit from this. Lu Yuan grinned. Drawing on memories from his past life, combined with Lu Sitong's divination, tonight's mutated creatures attacked using sound waves. Blocking one's ears offered a basic defense. However, if a ship had low or zero magic resistance, this method only provided minimal protection. Once a captain's mental value dropped below the critical threshold, madness would follow. Post the divination results in the chat channel. As usual, we'll trade the complete countermeasures for resources. Lu Yuan nodded toward Lu Sitong, telling her to release the information as they had done before. After Sitong posts the creature intel by Shui and Bingbing, you two release trade notices saying you have supplies effective against mental-type mutated creatures. After assigning Lu Sitong's task, Lu Yuan turned to arrange work for the other two. Boss, why don't I directly announce that I hold the countermeasures? Lu Sitong asked in confusion. If you do that, people will suspect you fabricated the prophecy just to earn resources. No one knows the 3 of you are working together, so Bai Shui and Bingbing can post without arousing suspicion. Lu Yuan explained with a smile. I see, that makes sense now. Lu Sitong nodded in understanding. Let's begin. Lu Yuan gestured for her to publish the message. Understood. Lu Sitong took out her nautical log and posted the divination result. Tonight's mutated creatures are mental type. Standard terms, private message with offers if you want the full countermeasures. Minutes after the message went live, numerous survivors reached out to trade. It's Sitong sharing her divination results. I need to trade for detailed advice. Exactly. Last time I didn't hold back and bought her creature intel, so I was fully prepared. Miss Sitong, I'd be honored to serve you however you need. Cut the empty flattery upstairs. You just want free information. To avoid raising suspicions, Lu Yuan instructed her to maintain the same pricing as previous trades. Boss, far fewer people are inquiring than usual. Lu Sitong walked over half an hour later, confused. It's the new factions. Lu Yuan glanced at her nautical log. Groups only need 1 member to purchase the intel, which is why your inquiries have dropped sharply. Oh, I get it. Does that mean we won't earn many resources this time? Lu Sitong sighed. I told you, intel trading isn't our main source of profit. Lu Yuan smiled and began pulling items out of his storage space. 10 anti-magic wands, 2 demon, repelling lamps, 3 anti-magic shield blueprints. These were extra stock he gained from the multiplier effect of his goldenrod talent. He kept another 10 anti-magic wands stored away, planning to synthesize them later using the resource trait. Wow, Yuan, how did you get so many of these supplies? Wang Bingbing stared in surprise. Hee, it's one of my talents. I spend materials to replicate items I already possess. Lu Yuan did not elaborate fully, only giving a vague explanation of their origin. Captain, you're incredible. Bai Shui's eyes lit up with admiration. It's nothing special. Before I send Bing Bing and Bai Shui out to trade these, I just remembered we have a resource supplier, Zhang Long. I should check if he needs any of these goods. Long, do you have a way to deal with the mutated creatures tonight? Thinking of this, Lu Yuan sent him a message directly. Good grief, Brother Yuan, don't even mention it. I'm truly out of options. I just bought a countermeasure from the gorgeous Sitong, and now I'm scrambling to find cotton to plug my ears. Zhang Hong replied the second he saw the message. It seemed he thought Lu Yuan was reaching out to ask if he had any solutions. Hee, I got lucky a while back and got hold of some weapons effective against mental-type mutated creatures. Interested? After figuring out what the other man was thinking, Lu Yuan wasn't upset and simply stated his proposal. Good heavens, Brother Yuan. No, Father Yuan. From now on you're my foster father. Name your price for whatever resources you need. After reading Lu Yuan's message, Zhang Hong fell silent for 2 seconds before sending over a photo of himself kneeling in salute. We're brothers, don't talk like that. It creates distance. Lu Yuan chuckled at the photo and went on. I have 3 anti-magic wands, enough for your 3 ships. Name your offer. Since Zhang Hong had even called him foster father, Lu Yuan didn't feel comfortable setting the price and let the other man make the bid. 2,000 units of each, lumber, metal, plastic. 2,000 apiece. Seconds after Lu Yuan sent his message, Zhang Hong shot back a reply. Hee, it's a deal. Lu Yuan grinned upon seeing the offer. It exceeded his expectations. The two quickly finalized the trade. If you come across any resources later, come to me first. Lu Yuan messaged once the transaction went through. I'd go through fire and water for you, Father Yuan, came Zhang Hong's immediate reply. All right, you two ladies, it's your turn to shine. After wrapping up dealings with Zhang Hong, Lu Yuan smiled and spoke to the 2 women. Got it. The pair had been eager to act. At his words, they immediately posted in the group chat. Anti-mental mutated creature tools for sale. Send private offers. Limited stock, highest bidder wins. Wang Bingbing and Bai Shui posted the trade notice one after another. The moment their messages appeared, the entire group chat erupted. Whoa, Goddess Bingbing, Goddess Bai Shui, why would you put something this valuable up for sale? Quit the flattery, can't you read? They're selling them. Come on, if you had these, would you sell them? Clearly the 2 ladies have kind hearts. That's right. Ladies, I'm still a university student. Can you give me a discount? Not a chance. No discounts for anyone. Everyone hold on. I've got something to say. As Lu Yuan casually watched the chat unfold, one person's message caught his eye. It was Ma Guanghao, the man who'd harassed Bai Shui earlier. We're all classmates. Others are in trouble right now. Shouldn't the 2 ladies offer these tools for free? Exactly. You 2 are such kind souls. I only have a tier 2 ship and can't possibly afford this. Why not give me one? I'll definitely repay the favor later. Spurred on by Ma Guanghao's words, the conversation in the chat shifted, and the comments grew more unpleasant by the minute. Brother Yuan? Surrounded by mounting pressure, Wang Bingbing was the first to grow flustered. She turned to Lu Yuan with watery eyes. Bingbing, haven't you realized something? In the end times, misplaced kindness gets people hurt. Lu Yuan stroked Xiaotian nestled in his arms as he spoke. Remember, if we refuse to be pressured by others' warped morals, no one can manipulate us with empty ethics. He then took her navigation log and sent a line straight into the group chat. Thanks to Brotherly for the purchase. 1 anti-magic wand traded. Anyone else interested, send your offers quickly. What? Who the hell is Brotherly? When they saw Wang Bingbing's posted update, the group exploded, and everyone started directing frustration toward this mysterious Brotherly. Even so, most people caught on fast and began sending private messages to Wang Bingbing hoping to strike a trade. On the other side, Ma Guanghao stared at the chat log. The public opinion he'd worked so hard to stir had suddenly turned against him, filling him with rage. Thanks to his starting cargo ship, Ma Guanghao's development wasn't as rapid as Lu Yuan's, yet he still ranked among the top survivors. That day, he'd also founded a faction called the Guanghao Army. After seeing Lu Xidong's prophecy, he'd been discussing defense plans with his subordinates when Wang Bingbing and Bai Shui suddenly announced they were selling the tools. Ma Guanghao was naturally unwilling to spend precious resources to buy them. He'd come up with the moral pressure tactic, betting the 2 women would cave to public demands and hand over the weapons for free. He never expected Lu Yuan's single message to completely ruin his plan. Boss, what do we do now? A former acquaintance who joined the Guanghao army messaged him in the private channel. Buy it. Secure one anti-magic wand at all costs. Ma Guanghao gritted his teeth and made up his mind. One major reason he hadn't rushed toward the safe zone was that defeating mutated creatures every day rewarded treasure chests. With decent reserves built up, he wasn't about to pass up this opportunity. The bigger the storm, the bigger the catch, Ma Guanghao thought to himself as he glanced at his storage space. I have an intermediate gene potion. Use this to make the trade. He soon ordered one of his subordinates to exchange the intermediate gene potion, a rare find he'd obtained by luck a few days prior, for an anti-magic wand. He avoided handling the trade personally, fearing his earlier behavior in the public chat would make Wang Bingbing refuse to deal with him. Understood, boss. Leave it to me. Meanwhile, Lu Yuan watched the flood of trade requests displayed on Wang Bingbing and by Shui's navigation logs, a wide grin spreading across his face.